live on YouTube, and listen back on Spotify. This is the World of Football podcast.
Good evening and welcome back to the World of Football podcast, watching live on YouTube, listening back on Spotify, whatever you guys do, you know the jazz right now. Probably wondering why there's nothing in the background, cough cough, a certain night driving. You'll find out very shortly in a minute, but we got a lot to get through tonight. We got so many teams to rip into, some frauds to rip into, predictions sort of for next season, Sunderland slander, Man United, just a dissection or open heart surgery, as Mr. Rolf Ragnick used to say as well. But very quickly, let's get the lads introduced and welcomed back. Reece, how are you doing, bud?
Not too bad, thanks. It's good to see everybody. It has been quite some time. We are in the midst of trying to find a regular day that we can just do the channel, lads. But one thing is for sure, we will sort it by the end of by the end of tonight. Actually, we'll sort it. Like, that's for sure. Man of my word. But it's going to be quite a fun stream we've got ahead. We've got a lot to talk about, and for everyone that's watching, like, share, and subscribe, and let's get the ground running.
Hell yeah, let's get the ground running and that date set as well. Julio, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, good. I was going to say it feels good to be back, but to be honest, with the way everything is at the moment, this feels like a break from reality at the minute. So I think it's the same for everyone. You know, obviously we've not been as regular as we'd like.
Yeah.
But you know, it's nice to be reunited again. And luckily, the gap between the last one and this one wasn't as bad as it has been this season. I think it's only been about 4 weeks. So yeah. So it's good to be reunited.
Yeah, great to see you guys back as well. And yeah, sadly with recent Man United, of course. But lads, there's only one thing that I can, and where has it gone? That has been a disaster. Hang on, I bet it's put out of best clause. No, it hasn't. There's one thing that we need to start on, lads. When
Reece's
it loads.
haircut.
Apart from Reece's haircut, which needs as much slander as a certain thing off Despicable Me, but background, intro song. Let me restart it. That shouldn't have happened. Anyway, you know what? Let's get into it and let's get some people slandered. Has anybody seen Harry Kane, Oasis, Jason Bundy, the Free Lions, Kia Starmer, Tommy Tuchel, French Charles, Jamie O'Hara, Bogdan, Hitler, Alessio Russo, Sir David Beckham. Boy, you guys took one hell of a beating against Senegal the other night. Absolute frauds. Anyway, we just end it there. That was a bit of a disaster, but I got that off my chest. And let's get on to the Prem predictions.
Whoa, hang on.
What the fuck
I've
was
got
that?
I've got 2 points to make. One, that Jason Cundy gimmick should be cancelled because it's one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. Not yours. Just when Cundy does it, because it's never been funny, no matter what.
It's never helpful when Cundy does it. It becomes cunty.
Exactly. Whenever anything comes out of his mouth at this point, especially with some of the stuff that was said on Drive Time this season.
Do you know what though? It's a very valid point it's a very valid, like, has anyone seen though? Because I think right now, and I've said this in the group chat, of the home nations, Wales is that team. It's that team of the home nations. Wales has been very good. I've been really impressed with how Bellamy's gone in there and done bits. And it's just, it makes you wonder that for the best part of 4, 5, 6 years almost, Rob Page gaslit an entire community and nation in that there is some kind of transition.
Correct. That's my next point. I was going to say we were all brainwashed. None of us fell for it, by the way, but yeah, what is it? 1 loss in 11 games. Just just been phenomenal, guys.
I can comfortably say as well, as an honest Scotsman, that we are in my opinion, we're the worst of the home nations right now. I can say that with
Even over Northern Ireland. But I know
Yeah.
Steve Clarke's a fraud and he needs to be chucked into this absolute, where is she? This, just in general. He needs to be thrown on there.
Yeah, but, absolutely. I think right now we would absolutely pummel Northern Ireland in a football game, but I think
anyone would.
But I think when you look at it, the reason why we're the worst is because he's still in charge.
Yeah.
And he's bringing in all these young, direct, attacking-minded players, including the fullbacks, but he's still picking Ralston with the brain hemorrhage. He's still picking Che Adams, who can't score, let alone get a date. And he's still playing that melon fucker in midfield. Like, when I look at it in general, like, I'm being deadly serious. Like, I don't care. Like, he could pick our best players, but the more he picks players who don't deserve to be in the squad, it brings us down, and it's a reflection of that. So, yeah, we may have won 4-0 in our most recent game, but quite frankly, I would have smashed that team 10-0 on my own if you gave me just a goalkeeper. So, in retrospect, if we don't do it against Belarus, with no fans, by the way, we've got no fans allowed to go to the Belarus game. Like, our fans are banned for that game because of this.
It's a situation over there, isn't there, where it's got like a do not travel from foreign office or something.
Exactly. So we'll have no fans over there, which I think is actually really unfair. I think personally, we're not allowed to have fans. Put it in a different location then.
It should be in a neutral venue, like it's done with any other game in UEFA.
Yeah, like Belarusian fans, Scottish fans, they should be allowed to go over because they're not going to fight with each other. Like, we're just going to go over there and support our teams to the masses. But like, we can win a game 5-0, 6-0, and we're still behind Northern Ireland for as long as Steve Clarke's in charge. The minute he's out and someone proper's in charge, we'll go right behind Wales as the best in the home nations. Because England right now are overrated to fuck. And I don't care how good a team they've got. If you're playing Curtis Jones, Reece James at fullback, Jordan Henderson in midfield to only scrape a 1-0 win against Andorra, I don't care what level of talent you've got, you don't deserve to be called the best at anything. That is embarrassing. That is
I think the fact they've got what I would consider an elite manager as well, and it's happening on his watch, does worry me a little bit, because it's not
and it's his choice as well.
It's not uncommon for us to see an elite manager go into the national team job and kind of balls it up. We saw it with Flick. We might see it with Tuchel. We could see it with Ancelotti for all we know. So his
first 2 11s were very polar opposite. Did you see the 2 11s for his first 2 games?
I didn't have a proper study, I will admit, but I did see that there were differences.
Jesus Christ, you're in for a shock. Wait till you see this.
I think we're in for a treat here, lads.
I will show you Carlo Ancelotti's first 11.
This is going to be horrifying.
It is. So his first game, as you know, was the 0-0 draw against Ecuador, right? They had 2 shots the whole game and they had less possession than Ecuador. But this was the lineup.
They did.
Yep. So I'm going to share my screen and I'll show you now. The only thing about it though is it's it won't show directly like how they lined up, but it's going to show you the first 11. This was his first 11 against Ecuador. I'll zoom in just a wee bit for everybody to see. So he played Vanderson and Sandro at fullback, Ribeiro, Marquinhos centre backs, Alisson in goal, no surprise. His midfield was Casemiro, Gerson, Ederson, and Bruno Guimaraes, and then his front three was Esteval, Vinicius Jr. and Richarlison. Shocking. Wow. Lucas Beraldo, I would have started him at centre back personally because he's a good left footer. I think not playing Cunha took off a little bit of control in the attacking third, but Esteval was the only good player on the field. Now his second lineup, which they won 1-0. Again, this is embarrassing.
I mean, look at the stats as well. That's concerning.
Yep, he changed the whole system. He played a 4-2-4.
Wow.
So he played the same back four, same goalkeeper. He dropped Gerson, and he brought in Rafinha and Mateus Cunha, and of all people, Gabriel Martinelli. Only Vinicius Junior remained. I'm sorry, but that is not that's when the fuck has Carlo Ancelotti ever played a 4-2-4? Like, is he on?
Well, he's played 4-4-2 in his career before, and
he has. But he's never played 4-2-4 though.
No, of course, but it's from a perspective, because sometimes you see with these websites, for example, that they differ. Some will show it as a 4-4-2, some will show it as a 4-2-4, depending on what happens.
To be fair, that is the
I do agree with
Microsoft
your point, though.
thing.
I think that's
thing.
quite a I do agree with you, though. I do think that's quite a shift, and it's quite an unfamiliar shift from Ancelotti.
Here's
very much a 4-3-3. He's played 4-3-3 or can play a 4-2-3-1, but to be honest, he's very much.
There's sofa score.
Maybe I'm not sure if a 4-2-3-1 best or a 4-4-1-1 or some format suits the Brazil team better.
Well, this is a 4-2-3-1. I just had it like 2 seconds ago. Hold on, this is from SofaScore.
I'm not seeing anything, by the way. I'm only still seeing your Google.
Yeah,
your
I think
Microsoft Bing search for Google.
All right, hold on 2 seconds.
At the end of the day, I find with Ancelotti, considering it is only 2 games in, to be chopping and changing and not knowing how to use one of the best national teams in the world, well, it's debatable now with the squad that they've got. But when you're struggling to beat a Paraguay side where they've only got Junior Enciso and also Miguel Almiron, who's back in the MLS, then that's worrying. Not to disrespect Paraguay in any way with the way they've lined up.
To be honest, though, one thing I will say is it went in the South American games between the South American nations. They do seem to be a little more tight knit than we probably suggest. But
Brazil's record is horrible.
Sorry.
Brazil's record is horrible. So it shows a 4-2-3-1. Microsoft Bing had a 4-2-4, but that's the highest rated player there is Bruno Guimaraes, and then it's Cunha.
More importantly, why is he playing Vinicius Junior up front?
He has a reputation of that, where he'll play like a winger as a striker, but I don't know, because when you look at the bench, there
should be enough firepower on the bench. You got Richarlison on there.
Santos, Esteval, Anthony, and I think Wesley's a striker. That's the attacking options. There's Richarlison. Richarlison was on the bench. He wasn't good in the first game though. But even so, Brazil versus Ecuador.
I wonder if it's for all we know. I wonder if it's similar to what Brazil did with Neymar back in the day. Of course, they played him more centrally in the 3 behind the striker, but it's that centre forwardish role where it gives a bit of freedom. And I wonder if he's got Cunha and Vinicius operating as that kind of role, not as such strikers, but more centre forwards.
Apparently, as well, I've seen this today. He is actually in talks with several European clubs, Neymar, to get back in the Champions League. Yeah, so this is a 4-3-3 here, this first game, which on paper makes sense because Esteval and Vinicius Junior are wingers, but even so, I look at that and I'm sorry, but why is Andreas Pereira in a Brazil squad? Why is Danilo still in the Brazil squad? Gabriel Martinelli is wank. Carlos Augusto is rubbish. Half of these players, I'm like, Ancelotti, mate, what are you being forced to suffer with? I actually think he'll regret this job.
As well, though. Nothing against Casemiro. We're playing him in 2025, with what you've got on the wings, and also you could bring Richarlison into it as well. That's just going to slow the movement down in the middle.
Yeah.
That's not Brazil.
Me personally, I would have played Gerson, Guimaraes, and Ederson as a midfield 3.
Yeah.
Because that's technical ability. It's got players who'll run up and down the pitch, and you've got a controller in Guimaraes in the field.
And another big rule as well. I know you've got Moises Caicedo in that team, but what is the number one rule? This is my personal opinion anyway. What's the number one rule when you play against a team who plays 4-4-2?
You outflank them.
Outflank them and overrun midfield.
Yeah, and you can't do it with Casemiro, especially when Caicedo's against you. But also, 3 of the back 4 for Ecuador gets into most international teams, in my opinion. Pacho's incredible. Hincapié is a player I rate tremendously, and Estupiñán is a fantastic fullback and wingback.
Even Ordonez as well. He's a good up and coming fullback as well.
Yeah, that Angulo's a good player. Yeboah's hit and miss, but Caicedo walks it. If Caicedo was Brazilian, he walks into that Brazil team all day long.
For me, he slots straight into that middle.
I think it says a lot.
Mahrez is number 10. Caicedo and Gerson just behind them, doing it. Obviously, that three in midfield. That's brilliant.
I think it says a lot about Brazil, doesn't it? That where they were once really strong, they're now so weak, and that's midfield.
Exactly. And it's quite alarming. No disrespect to Newcastle, but Newcastle have a better midfield than Brazil. That should never happen.
Exactly.
Do you know what though? I wonder if it's worth where maybe Ancelotti might be the wrong guy for this, but
I think
obviously they played a obviously when they won the World Cup 20-something years ago, they played a 5 at the back, didn't they?
They played a 3-5. They played a 3-4-1-2. Rivaldo and Ronaldo were up front. Ronaldinho was the 10.
Yeah, and I wonder it's something like that, or even a 3-4.
I'm sure it was a 3-4-2. I'm sure it was a 3-4-1-2 or a 3-4-3.
I'm pretty sure it was a 1-2 as well. I'm pretty sure it was a 1-2.
Yeah.
But even so, I think with the squad options, because I think if Brazil are the weakest in the midfield, you limit the midfield options. Suddenly, if you're putting Gerson or Edison and Bruno Guimaraes in a midfield too, you've got that defensive stability in the 3-back, because there are enough good centre backs actually that Brazil can play with.
A 1-2, like what I thought. But look at that. I mean, that gets the best out of Cafu. It gets the best out of Roberto Carlos as wing backs. Cleberson, Gilberto Silva, Rocky Jr. was an incredible centre back.
Lucio as well. I love Lucio.
Lucio was insane. But system for system, the only difference is the Germans could not cope with that front three, and Gilberto Silva was an absolutely incredible engine.
Yeah.
But that was then, and that was a team that had Kaká on the bench.
Exactly, and that's what I mean. I think they've got enough forwards where they could facilitate a 2-1 or a 1-2 or something very fluid.
I think Brazil really need to get. I think Brazil need to get away from a back four, to be honest.
Badly.
It's not because they're a terrible team. They don't have the midfielders anymore.
I agree with the comment that's just been thrown in.
Yeah, Catherine really tortures me in that way. Thanks, Catherine.
Thank you. Welcome in. But let's get the show on the road. The Premier League review, isn't it? It's fine. I can't believe it's here again. Let's get the lads' scores up on the doors. As you can see, we've had some stinkers this year. Anyone who's wondering about the point system, one position out means 1 point out. And as you can see, the stat man has once again won. Someday, lads.
This is a lot.
Wait, hang on. Where did I finish third?
Oh, I came last.
Well, to be fair, can I say this proudly? Mm-hmm. That's good, because I absolutely got hammered on the championship predictions.
Mate, you did worse than Irish guy. I mean, that's just a
Irish guy comes up with some crazy ones, to be fair.
I don't even watch the championship, to be fair.
I'm glad we don't do forfeits for our predictions, because I went bold this year.
We would be finished with some of those scores.
I mean, I got out of a great forfeit, to be fair, during the 2 Euros ago, so I'm all right with that. I got out of an amazing forfeit, and I will never say it again on stream.
I'm just how the hell happened. I didn't do any forfeits to do with Wrexham last year. I was absolutely finished.
You're going to be having to do something for the championship this season, mate, if a Wrexham fan catches you. Alright, Catherine, no. You're sound, to be fair, Catherine. You're always on my steel chair streams, so I appreciate it.
Hell yeah. But yeah, it's quite alarming as well, because I know obviously last year it was really easy to predict, but I only had 30 points. Comparing it to 80, I know it's a bit harder with some of the frauds, Man United, Spurs.
Yeah. Do you know what's crazy?
The general ones, but yeah.
I had a lot of close ones. I had a lot of distant ones, but I had a lot of close ones as well. Like even starting at the top, 1, Villa, 1, then a couple of 2s, a couple of 1s. Jesus, I had a lot of close calls.
Even like the 2s and 3s are not so bad, because we'll get onto it in further detail shortly, but when you look at 10th to 8th, that's just like a holding tank with all the hipster clubs. Like if you get those sorts of teams in that area, then in my eyes, that's a good prediction.
I'm taking that rule for next season. I'm putting all the hipster clubs somewhere between 14th and 9th.
I'm putting them in the place where they belong. Out of sight, out of mind.
I mean, considering obviously Thomas Frank's gone from Brentford, I have a feeling where I'm going to be put. Well, I did it this season, got it wrong. Same again next year, Drive.
I do like Thomas Frank a lot, actually. I think he's a decent appointment for Spurs, but like in terms of where Spurs are going to be, it's not. They're going to be winning things.
It's going to be very interesting to see him in the Champions League for the first time.
100%.
Like, and also his first competitive game for Tottenham is the fucking Super Cup, isn't it? That's his first competitive game.
Oh my god, he's gonna. I feel bad for him because he's going against arguably the best team in Europe right now, if not
one of them. Yeah, like when I look at the three best teams in Europe, sorry Liverpool fans, but it's not you. When I look at the three best teams in world football right now, from a club perspective, it's PSG, Barcelona, and I was going to say Inter, but obviously they fucking fell off.
Oh my god!
So I put them down to fourth. But for me, the three best teams in Europe right now are Barcelona, PSG, and Bayern Munich. And I'm not saying that because they smashed Auckland City 10-0, but I mean in general, like Bayern Munich are that bloody strong. If Bayern got past Inter Milan, PSG would not have won the Champions League.
Yeah, because I was thinking when we got out of, the new group stage very loosely that we got to use now, but with the way that Bayern Munich started off, I actually thought they were just going to walk it into the final, but yeah, they're just a bunch of frauds in the end.
When you look at it as well, it's going to be very interesting to see them next year. I think you're going to see certain clubs play very smart again with the group stage. Like, I think PSG will do the same again. I think PSG will not finish in the automatic place. I think they'll finish again in the playoffs, because that's actually the smartest thing to do. You finish in that playoff position, you're screwing up a team who's in the top half. Like, they've done it to Liverpool with brilliance.
I mean, we'll get onto them as well, but I think that's what cost Aston Villa getting into the top 5 this year. Because I don't know what it was. They had some really good games in the group stage. I know it was their first time back since the 80s, but they always seemed to lose the game after in the Premier League, and it really
I'll tell you what cost
with their.
I'll tell you what cost Villa not getting the top 5. Choosing Rashford over Duran and selling Duran. Julio's not gonna like that because he's a Rashford fan, but
no, that's not the. I wasn't gonna. I think Rashford was an opportunity at a quick fire replacement for Duran. In fact, I'm not gonna comment on the Rashford thing because it's irrelevant for me on that regard. My whole thing about that was
wrong. What I'm saying is it was the wrong signing for me, even on loan. I think letting go of Duran.
Yeah, exactly, because you've let go of a very, very effective striker, and you've brought in a guy who's not an out-and-out winger or an out-and-out striker. He plays somewhere in the middle between them,
and hasn't been in good form for a long time as well.
And bearing in mind as well, Villa rotated a little bit when they played us in the FA Cup, and I will say this now: Rashford was the worst player on the pitch that day by a mile.
Yeah. And that says a lot, but
it does.
See, my thing on Duran was about, because I think the player wanted the move. I think that was the Achilles heel. I think
now he wants to come back. Now he wants to come back to Europe, though.
Yeah, exactly. How much did they get for him? Was it? I know,
77 It was 77 million they got for Duran.
It was decent though, yeah, and I was quite annoyed that he went.
77,400,000 a week.
Do you know the crazy thing about it is he's very young, so he could literally go to Saudi, pick up the bag for a year maybe, and then decide, actually, you know what, I want to come back.
But at the end of the day,
even though he didn't come back, that's what Oscar did with the Chinese Super League.
He's never come back.
He never came back. No, he stayed out there.
Credit to him, to be fair. Like that man was willing to risk anything to stay over there.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone can question him on that. Fair play to him. But anyone that goes to Saudi, especially if you're like 19, 20-year-old, I'm sorry, but you're a fucking idiot.
A lot of players now want to come back. They've gone there for a couple of years and they've gone, oh, actually, we don't like it here, we want to come back. So.
I mean, look at how quickly Jordan Henderson upsticks to Amsterdam.
I personally think, and I don't know what you guys agree with this, but again, this is just my opinion on big money. If you're a 19, 20-year-old and you chose to go over to Saudi for all that money, and you're on a big contract, I don't think the club should pay out your contract just for you to leave. I think you should buy your own contract out. If you don't want to be there, prove it. Buy out your contract.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to come back to Europe, then make yourself a free agent. Buy your contract out, and we'll see how much your career really means to you. Otherwise, stay the fuck over there.
But you see, I think them being over there depends how desperate they are to come back. But I think for the likes of Duran, it could be a win-win. Either I stay another year and get more money, or I get the move I want. So I'm chilling.
Yeah. It's a shame though, because Duran had one of the best minutes per goal ratio for a substitute in terms of coming into the league. His record was insane.
Yeah.
If he had stayed, Villa would have finished in the top 5.
Yeah.
They would have pipped Newcastle.
Well, the thing is, the interesting
Newcastle
thing is
had a really bad patch as well, didn't they? Hence, why even they finished 5th, because they could have been like 3rd or 2nd if they just kept it up.
100%. Yeah, 100%.
The thing is as well though, like there was a period where Rashford was in the team ahead of Watkins in certain matches.
Which was
that was
just
thinking,
thinking,
that was.
Regardless of whether you think,
though.
it doesn't matter. My point is, if Emery was thinking of more about taking Watkins out the team because he wanted something different, imagine if he had Duran in there. I know it's margins and hindsight's
At the end of the day with Villa, look at the amount of players that you can play over Rashford. Ollie Watkins, Morgan Rogers, Leon Bailey, Marco Asensio. Who else have we got?
Jacob Ramsey.
We're up to 5 now.
Even John McGinn is a false nine because he'll just shoot from anywhere.
Exactly. So technically, you've got 6 players there that you can play ahead of Marcus Rashford.
And then you look at the big money. Like, Villa are under huge pressure though, because they've got to sell so many players as well. Like and that's their own fault as well. But
Man United need to capitalize, whether they get Kamara, whether they get Onana, even if they decide, you know what, let's just go Emi Martinez. They need to look at that.
Anything's an upgrade on Onana.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Emi Martinez is right there. Take it. Like he's one. There's like 3 or 4 players from Villa. I'd snap my 2 arms and my 2 legs to sign that like immediately from Villa. Like there's 4. I would, like, no hesitation. I'd be like, someone just snap my arms in half and my legs, I don't care. As long as we get those 4 players, I would. Yeah. And for me, they're Rodgers, Ramsey, Emerson Martinez, and to be honest, he's grown accustomed to me. I would say Onana in midfield, but that also means sacrificing Ollie Watkins, but I would take Morgan Rogers in a heartbeat. I rate that guy higher than 80% of the players are around the same age as Man United.
Do you know what the other crazy thing is? Kamara's in the last year of his contract, or at least he's not signing an extension.
I think he'll go back to Marseille.
I don't know.
I honestly think he goes back to France. I think he will run. I think he's not worked out in the Premier League. I feel bad for him because he's actually a really talented player, but he's not worked in the Premier League. I think he'll go back to Ligue 1, 100%.
I definitely agree with the other, like Rodgers and Onana, especially Onana. I think Onana surprised a lot of people because there was a lot of people last summer who said no to Onana for different reasons, and he's almost gone and proved them wrong a little bit.
I was unsure about him just because of Everton, and it's not saying it in a negative way about Everton, but I wanted to see him at least step up from a slight mid-table English league club to a more competitive mid-table to European competing club, and he's done that really well. But I feel like if he goes to United now, I feel like he's taken 2 or 3 steps back, not a step forward, which says a lot coming from a very honest Man United fan. I actually think if he was to go from Everton to Man United, Villa to Man United, he's taken 2 or 3 steps back. Like even that, I don't get what people see in him, but he plays for Brighton. That Baleba or whatever he's called, like, he's a decent player.
He's brilliant.
I actually don't think he improves Man United right now. I don't. And that's not saying I don't think he's a bad player or anything like that. But
in what aspect? Because like when you look at our midfield options, they're not very good. And to be honest, I think we're in that scenario again 3 years on, where we've got a new manager. We're supposed to go into a rebuild, and a lot of the top 10, a lot of the clubs in the Premier League
have
better midfields than we do. Then it was McFred. Now it's absolute mismatch of an aging Casemiro. We're playing Bruno Deeper. We've got Ugarte who
for Everton.
Yeah, we've got Ugarte who people aren't sure about, and then forget the midfield for a moment. The forward line was absolutely atrocious.
I don't want to see. I hope to God I don't see Fred play for Everton. I would hate to see him cook. He would honestly cook for Everton, and then I'd have to have all the Fred haters.
System.
Yeah, and then everyone that hated Fred, I'll be like, yeah, I fucking told you so, you cunts.
But this is my personal opinion, seeing it from a neutral point, and I'm going to go down the list and say yes or no. If they've got a better midfield than them, so right, let's do it very quickly. Yes.
Wait, who are we saying better midfield than who?
Man United.
All right, well, I'll tell you correctly. I'll tell you correctly. That's how it's done. So yes, nope. Like, I'm not even kidding. Arsenal have only got one midfielder better than our entire midfield, and that's Zubimendi.
He's not even there yet.
Well, that's Declan Rice.
Declan Rice is just being overhyped for these free kicks now. Like, leave that man alone. But he's actually a good midfielder. So, all right, 50% Arsenal. City, yes.
Obviously.
Chelsea,
yes, absolutely. Caicedo and Fernandes, please come on.
And at the end
Caicedo
of the day, even then, when it's not better, they can just spend 100 million on another defensive midfielder.
Exactly.
Newcastle,
absolutely. Guimaraes and Tonali together in Amorim's midfield.
And Joe Linton as well. Oof.
Aston Villa are 100% yes.
Yeah.
Forest, no.
Possibly.
What about the likes of Elliot Anderson and stuff in there?
Elliot Anderson alone, maybe, but
he's dropped off.
That's depending on roles.
He's dropped off, and Morgan Gibbs White plays as a advanced 10, so he's not even in that midfield. So he's out. Brighton, yes. Bournemouth, yes. Brentford, no. Fulham, no. Palace,
possibly.
50-50. Everton, yeah. Everton, nah. West Ham, don't even get me
absolutely not.
Wolves, no. Spurs, yes.
Yeah.
Leicester,
I don't know.
no.
Actually, Wolves is an interesting one because their little Brazilian duo of João Gomez and Andre. I like them both.
Don't do this to me. You know I love João Gomez, but are they better in our whole midfield? No, but João Gomez I would take to Man United in a heartbeat.
I just feel like there's a gaping hole in our midfield, and neither one of those can fill it.
I'd love João Gomez. I really would. I think he's an incredible midfielder. I rave about him all the time. Julio and Julio will defend that. Spurs is an absolute yes. They only finished below us because their defence are leakier than a nun. Leicester, definite no. Ipswich, absolutely not. And Southampton, no.
50-50 on the Southampton one. But it was a Chelsea loanee, so it doesn't count.
Who?
Ogachukwu.
Oh, of course you were going to say that.
Nah, okay. He is an Onana regen in the making.
Don't go that far, mate.
It's just he played for Southampton, though, isn't it?
But I think when you look
that's not his fault, is it?
When you look at the league in general, for me, I don't get obviously people rave about all goals win your games, defense win your trophies, but I've always raved in the pack. For me, the most important point of the team is the midfield.
Yeah,
because the midfield controls everything.
I've got a honking take here. I think Leeds come close to having a better midfield than you as well.
What?
Hang on. Let me think. Ethan Ampadu, I like him. Is he better?
Let me hear the Leeds midfield options, like the central midfielders, not the wingers, just the central midfielders.
I think the only one he's referring to is a certain Welshman who came from Chelsea in Ethan Ampadu.
He's a good player, but I think he's more a centre back than a midfielder.
I think he'd be a decent centre back, like central one. In our system.
He is a non-trophy winning Welsh Daily Blind.
He just won the championship, mate.
But I meant trophies, not...
Oh, yeah, true.
And I have never seen that guy play left wing back, tear Azpilicueta to shreds, and ping 50-yard balls for Van Persie to score headers.
No, but he can at least deliver those good balls, though. And he's done that before. Mm-hmm. He's
played under Conte as well.
He's got good range.
Conte gave him his debut, by the way, Ampadu.
Oh, I know. I rate Ethan Ampadu. I really like Ethan Ampadu, but I don't think he's better than any Man United midfielder.
Yeah, so their midfield, you got choices of Ayo Tanaka, Ilya Gruev.
Nope.
Guiavogi.
Who?
Gilavogi, 15 legend.
What a player.
Don't remember him. Skip.
And borderline Brendan Aronson.
All right, I'll let you off one because
he's
a good midfielder. Yes, I'll let you off with him.
Come on.
Yeah. Brendan Aronson's a good player.
No.
Yeah.
In the Premier League, he's all right.
To be fair, when you look at it as well, he
as
left
a 10, not in the two in midfield.
But that's because he's not going to play that type of role. He's going to play
Just
like a box-to-box player. He's an excellent player though. He went from a team that was actually capable of winning things to a team who just likes to play with sheep. They've dropped off heavy as well, by the way, Salzburg. Their drop-off needs to be studied. Their drop-off needs to be studied in the Austrian Bundesliga. Wow.
Considering the limited funds that they have compared to everyone else, their academy's not cooking.
They're not producing good players at the moment. They're not, which is wild for them. But they'll probably come back next season when they spend like 25-30 million for a fucking Austrian team and then get cooked later. But
easily.
Here's a funny thing though. When you look at the league, see the best attacking team. That's not even the team that won the league. I actually think the best attacking team is the team that finished third.
Well, in terms of individual talent?
No, collective.
I think on a whole to drag them into third, possibly. But they had some stinkers at times, though.
Yeah, City had a lot of stinkers, but I actually don't think City finished.
Do you mean in terms of how they performed this season, or if you looked at the quality in the front three and put them together?
In general, both points to what you've just said. Both.
Okay.
Because the one thing I will say with Man City is the one thing that bailed them out this year was signing Marmoush and Nico Gonzalez in January. If those two signings hadn't happened, they would have finished 7th.
Yeah.
For me.
I also look at players who haven't fully settled. You look at players who haven't fully settled.
To be fair to you, Reece, it's quite. I would to an extent agree with that. I don't think they were the best. They were obviously not the best performing forward line. I think that was Liverpool as a cohesive unit. But in terms of quality in the forward line, Manchester City's is the best because you've got Erling Haaland, who is probably the best gunman in Europe.
Wasn't going to score more than 15 goals, apparently, according to a Chelsea fan who's more deluded than Paul Scholes, licking people's feet.
I think Marmoush, decent signing, actually performed well. It's really on that right hand, wherever, depending on where Marmoush has played, because he's played, I think, right and left. But I think I don't want to put Foden in the right wing. But
I think he has to play more of a 10. They've definitely. The funny thing is, though, is the way they've signed players, though. Like they've made some incredible signings.
So would you shove Bernardo Silva on the wing then?
I think Bernardo Silva needs to be let go.
Really?
I would put him in the bin. Hate that prick.
I actually think City need to let him go. Cherki and Reijnders are far better players right now for City than Bernardo Silva. And Bernardo Silva is an incredible technician.
Yes.
I think Phil Foden has to play in the 10, which means Reijnders is going to play beside likes of Gundogan and Rodri. Cherki will probably rotate with Foden, and then there'll be times where either or play in the 10 role. Marmoush has to play as Haaland's backup, not as a winger. Doku will likely come good in his second season. Grealish is going to get sold, I think.
Oh, Grealish. That was my next question. Does he go back to Villa?
I don't know where he goes, but him.
I don't think there is room for him at Villa. Not just with I don't know how he gets let go. I don't think there is room for him at Villa. I don't think they can afford.
I hope Man United don't sign him. These rumors about United signing him make me sick.
Reece, if I'm being perfectly honest, mate, I think these rumors are just lazy journalism. But just because he was head on to come to us at one point, and then he just never happened.
I'm
glad. And then Manchester City signed him. So
for me, the best route for Grealish is to go abroad.
I actually think he could.
Looking around the league.
I don't think it's insulting for him to suggest, but I think he should step down to Newcastle or
I was thinking that, I was actually thinking that, and I was going to say that. I think a step down in the Premier League is likely. Someone like a Newcastle, even a Forest, if they decide to go overboard.
I was thinking Forest second, like him
but otherwise, I think a move abroad is is likely.
But the thing is, would he get into Newcastle's team though? Because I'm not.
Do you know what? Do you know what? If Everton if the freaking group put their money where their mouth is, Everton.
Yeah.
Moyes loves a vanity project.
He would carry Everton into the top 8. Like he would.
Moyes loves Maverick. Moyes loves taking players that need that freedom and making them good. Arnautovic, Lingard, just 2 case in points I could just think of.
Januzaj for 9 months.
Possibly Paquetá as well.
They've made one signing that I'm really pleased with. I'm annoyed as well, but it's a signing they've made. Everton getting Alcaraz on a permanent is an incredible move.
I think them getting him in the first place was a really good move, actually. I think it was a mistake to leave European football.
I love Alcaraz. He's so good. Fair play to them for bagging him, eh?
100%.
We need more moves like that. Players going off grid, and then clubs seeing the quality and be like, hang on a minute, bring him back. What's he doing in Brazil? Come back. That's why I like. I didn't like Almada leaving the MLS for Brazil, but obviously there was a joint ownership agreement with an agency where he would go there for 6 months to a year and then head straight to Lyon afterwards, and that's obviously where Almada is.
He's a part. But as in Almada, that's the Argentine player that I rate.
Yeah, Almada, yeah.
Milan are after him as well.
Oh, yeah, juicy.
Milan, Inter, Juve all want him.
I'm really excited about Syria with Milan and Allegri.
I think it'll be the best league
as well.
I think it'll be the best league again. It was the best league last season.
I think it'll be the most unpredictable season because of how much managerial changeover there's been. There's been a lot of managerial swaps, and it's quite insane.
Yeah, no, that's something we can talk about later. But we haven't spoken.
Let's go back to predictions. Come on, right?
Absolutely.
Let's do this. I reckon let's just go down to the bottom, and we need to do the elephant in the room. What is the one thing, looking at the bottom of the table, that there's been a general consensus on? And in fact, I think this one is our best prediction of all time.
We all saw it was coming. We all knew that Southampton were going to get shot back down like a nun trying to catch God. Like, they were awful. They were awful.
Yeah.
This is just our reaction to it.
Fucking hell. I forgot about that.
You need to crop the first bit out because people will be worried that we're taking the mick out of stroke victims because Reece looked like he was taking a stroke in the first couple of seconds of that.
I mean, the laughter is appropriate, but...
No, absolutely. I'm not saying crop out the laughter. I'm just saying crop out the first bit where Reece doesn't know what he's doing with his face.
I mean, that is my reaction. That's me laughing. Or getting ready to laugh, but yeah.
True. But I mean, at the end of the day, we all said Russell Martin was a fraud at the start of the year. Oh, no, we all said they finished bottom. And ultimately, we all said they finished with rock bottom points, like challenging Derby. And they only did it they were only 1 point away as well, which is quite mad. But I mean,
I also said it as well. I think I also said it as well. Hulu, you might be able to fact check me on this. But I think I said one of the promoted teams would not take the league seriously at all when it comes to investment. I believe I said that about one of the teams. I think I said it about Southampton.
And you also said as well, and you said this when they were in the Championship as well, they had the best squad out of A in the Championship and B out of the 3 promoted teams. So they're very underachieving.
And I'm actually annoyed that they didn't break the points record. They deserved to have broken that record because that's how shit they were.
They were so bad. They were. I said at the start of the season that shagging lads magazine models, it was not going to keep them up. And Martin losing his job do you know what? To be honest though, what I think, lads, you guys remember that one of my first few shows with you, we did the ownership tier list.
Yes. We mugged those ownerships.
Premier League, and it might be time for a review on that because one thing I didn't discuss enough was the Southampton ownership it's the Czech ownership now, isn't it, with that Czech bloke. He came in and he was very widely known for saying something along the lines of, people say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, what if we rip it up and make it better? You haven't done that. You have monumentally embarrassed yourself, not just by what you've done, but by saying that as well. You've come in, you've given Nathan Jones the keys for the best part of 2 months. Then you sat
with
him.
also no backing as well to add, and he had to use a Ralph Hasenhüttl squad that was a bit all over the place. Nathan Jones was trying to put his system in, and it just completely exploded. I don't know what they were expecting.
And also another big thing as well. This is another major fact. They were the 5th richest Premier League owners last season. They are 100% the richest owners in the Championship.
It's shocking.
They're richer than
exactly.
Man United's ownership.
I think to go back down and then not come up top or in the top 2, to come up in 3rd, I think I said last season was a disgrace in itself.
They should have won the Championship.
And then with the quality they were signing, they were not signing enough Premier League quality. I think 2 players
Russell
they signed.
Martin was signing his mates from Swansea.
Exactly. There was Nathan Wood, and there was Ronnie Edwards coming in from Peterborough, who was in League One.
Flynn Downs as well.
Exactly.
The lad
we even said that Downs on a permanent, is that going to keep you up? It's not. Ward-Prowse, for example, I would have understood if you'd signed Ward-Prowse back.
They signed the lad from City as well, permanently as well, big money. And
Howard Bellis, yeah,
he's a decent centre back, but they spent 15-20 million on him and then did nothing.
Yeah,
that's the thing. It's
Catherine, that is harsh as fuck.
But yeah, I think
I have never missed a fucking stream. How dare you? That is cold.
Do you know what though? I think I didn't expect it to get worse after Martin left. I thought they'd get someone who would keep it a little bit steady, and like the only monumentally obvious thing that Juric did was give United a tough hour at Old Trafford in January, and then that was it. Apart from when he came and when he left. And when he was appointed, I said I didn't think it would work. If it works, great. I don't think it will, and I don't see him surviving the season anyway.
Genuinely, I said at the start of the season with the predictions, the sooner that you sack Russell Martin, the further away you will get from that Derby points total. But I don't understand how Ivan Juric.
I would only assume. Do you know what? I only assume because they're both Croatian. Genuinely, I know that sounds like a really basic and naive bit of analysis, but I genuinely believe, because it was his countryman, because I can't think of what kind of thought process went in where he thought, you know what, this is the guy. He comes in, the one shining light in your season in Tyler Dibling, who was doing all right under Russell Martin. Juric misused him. Never heard of people saw him ever again. This is a guy we're supposed to believe that would cost £100 million. Even 35 now might be a bit of a stretch. So it was a ridiculous strategy going into the season. It was a ridiculous appointment. They've obviously brought in Will Still now. I don't want to...
I'm not sure myself. I'm not sure if he's the right guy as well.
Here's the thing. I'm not sure on him, and I don't want to diminish what he's done, because what he's done in Ligue 1 is he's kind of outperformed. At least he did in his first job there. A lot was made of what he was, and Football Manager, and no coaching badges, or whatever that was. And I don't want to diminish what he's done there, because that's, fair enough. You've outperformed what probably you've exceeded your own expectations at that club. But this kind of seems a bit like a hipster appointment, and I'm not a fan. That's not to diminish Will Still, but Southampton could probably afford to sign lots of good Championship players again, now that they're down, but I'm talking the best players of the teams that didn't go up, but they can't do it. If they go up again, the first time of asking, by hook or by crook, they can't do that again. They can't be signing League One defenders and hoping they'd play and then loan them out after 6 months.
I think the interesting thing though is, I do agree to an extent. I do think Will Still is a little bit of a hipster appointment. I do. But here's the funny thing though. Unlike most English managers, he is English, eh?
He is English, yeah.
Unlike most English managers, at least he was brave enough to say, you know what, actually, if I'm going to have to get some top flight experience, I need to leave my country. I need to fuck off. The fact that he went to France and done really well, I think that's a good thing, because he actually played some decent football over there.
He did,
I think-
and he also worked his way up as well. Like at the end,
Yeah.
he was managing Lons,
And
which
that is no easy feat.
Considering 10 years ago, if you said, we're getting Will Still from Lons, then you'd have a heart attack from a
Yeah, you
team.
would.
Getting
Thinking
Lons
of
been a
players
factory
Lons
for
now.
decent footballers, especially in recent years.
Danso, Lafont,
Same.
like there's some good
Did you know
players.
Danzo was in the MK Dons Academy at one point?
Yeah.
Yep.
I had no idea. That shook
only
me
s-
recently.
I only seen that like thing yesterday because someone was telling me that for a joke, and I was like, if you're shitting me, then I'll laugh. But no, it was.
Yeah. I
a
think MK
personal-
Dons tweeted about it, like, congrats to Kevin Danzo, ex-Academy product. I'm like, he doesn't count.
But that's Matt. But yeah, it's Matt. I think.
But
one
Lons
thing
is a
they have
factory for
to-
good footballers, and I think you
Yeah.
can't, like I've already said, I don't want to, by referring to it as a hipster appointment, I don't want to be diminishing
I
what
think
he's
it's
done in the game,
accurate.
because I am
I think it's
impressed.
accurate. I think it's accurate to say hipster appointment, but it's not as hipster as say Graham Potter. I think
Absolutely not. No,
Graham
I
Potter.
completely agree with that.
Graham Potter is 100% a hipster king in that way. Like, he's the king of hipsters. But Will Still at least bet on himself to go somewhere. And at least he's willing to take that big sacrifice. He sacrificed a top flight club for a championship club where if they do back him, he's got a chance to build a seriously good team. And I think if he can get a seriously good team there, they'll walk the championship. I actually think Southampton will win the championship this time. I know I said last year I think I had them in the top 2. I think this year they will walk the championship under Will Still. I think they'll walk it.
I'm not going to make such a prediction because I want to see what their window looks like, because Southampton have got just as much of a chance of doing all right in the window as they do ballsing it up completely.
Yeah.
So
They do need direct players. They are about to let go of another key player of their squad though. So I'm interested to see how that goes. Aribo is going back north. Like
That's a big loss for him.
he has been linked back to Rangers, and they're going to make a move on him. Go like, which is feel sorry for me playing the Russell Martin again, but it's good to see him back in the Rangers shirt. But
The one thing I will say, I know it is ridiculous. Well, at the end, it's middle of June, isn't it, guys? But
big contract on Dibbling has to happen. I know that sounds mad, but they have to. They need to put in a if I was Southampton, now this might sound crazy, they should put in a release clause of 80 million.
Yeah.
At least 80, like, and just say, like, we're not selling you for anything less. I don't think he's an amazing player, but I think he's got the potential to be that, and I think he's got the potential to be their next best, like, direct player.
Academy
And they
product,
should,
yeah.
that's
and
the
they
thing, though.
should
They've got to
back him.
keep these assets, and there is no way that anyone's going to look at him for more than 25. So that's where you
Absolutely
protect your
not, no.
investment.
We said
And really want to
ourselves-
risk it, put another relegation clause in his contract.
We said ourselves,
Done.
like, we agreed that the last good player they produced was Ward-Prowse.
Yeah.
We all agreed on that, like, and Dibbling could well be the next one.
Southampton do have a good track record for producing talents like likes of Lallana as well as Ward-Prowse. Like, not just players like Bale and Walcott and Oxlade-Chamberlain, but also players who were...
Doug, come join us. Come join us, Doug. Come join us quickly. Come
We
join
haven't
us.
got to Liverpool yet, mate.
But here's the thing: if Southampton do, I think Southampton minimum have to spend 40-50 million in the championship.
They absolutely have to
do.
spend, yeah.
Because that
They've got
gets
to bring
off
in
my
absolute
next point.
quality when they do it.
And I think there's going to be an outlier next season. At the moment, unless Southampton do bits, the only team that's going to come close to getting to automatics is Ipswich.
I agree, and I think Ipswich will.
It's going to be completely different next year.
I think Ipswich will be in the top 3. I think the fact that they've refused to sack Kieran McKenna and they've stuck with it is big. Dibbling is portal bound.
Wow.
If Southampton sell him, it needs to be at least 30 million minimum, and they've got a reason to say that. Joe Bellingham.
I think potentially we could see a deal where it's less than 30, but there's a sell-on clause in there.
Or if they sell Dibbling to
There
Porto,
should be
they
a
get someone out of it.
it.
Think of the quality player they could get from Porto in response. Like, if I was them, I would take Evan Loader from Porto. It's a young English striker.
I was going to say that's their English striker, isn't it? That's it. I couldn't remember the name, but I was thinking the English striker. I forgot. That's him.
I would be
Yeah,
able
I
to
think
take
he
him.
could be
What I potentially do is do Diblin 25 million and do a loan to buy option on him, because then you've got that sense of risk. And if it goes wrong in the championship, then there's no clause for him to sign.
Possibly. Doug saying
Risk-
22.5 million.
High risk,
rumour.
high reward. That's what you need to do.
Yeah. 22.5 mil plus add-ons rumoured is what Doug said. If they do
Good.
get him, I mean, it's a good move for him. Like, Porto will develop him, but right now, this might sound harsh, but Porto
Well,
should be
they've already
looking at
brought
that.
Vega in as well, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, he
I
started
think
the
that's
game
a
the other
crazy deal.
night. They've got a good squad.
Crazy
Porto.
good deal. Even though he's gone to Saudi, and Reece has already made a point about being 19, 20 and going to Saudi, like you don't deserve anything and all that malarkey. But you know,
I stand by it. I stand by it. I do rate Gabriel Veiga, and I'm glad he at least got out quickly. Like, I'm glad he got out quickly. Fair play to him. He's a quality young player.
It doesn't feel like it's been a year since he made the move, though, and I think that's what's concerning me the most. The fact that a year went by, and now I've got even less hair, a higher hairline, and I'm just older.
See, right now, I don't think he's ever coming back to the Premier League, at least directly. But Southampton need to realistically look at what they can do. They've got rich owners. They could realistically get some top English talent in their squad and build. I actually advocate they should go for Ivan Toney.
Nah, I don't think it'll happen. I mean, they can make a move, but I don't think Toney
in Saudi for me.
I think Toney either stays in Saudi or he comes to a bigger club. I don't think Toney sees himself playing anywhere close to the Championship, whether it be top of the Championship or bottom of the Premier League. I think maybe in a few years when he's older, maybe. I think Southampton go back down the route of let's buy the best players either at Championship level or League One level or what we can or Scottish, just anything realistic, but probably the Championship. I think this time there won't be. I think there could be a lot more squad continuity this time as there was to last time, because last time they were absolutely gutted.
Ultimately, what Southampton could look at is what they did in the Prime Barclays era. I know they've got nothing coming through the academy, but most of their signings, and there were some insane ones, a lot of it was abroad, in particular Serie A.
I think the only thing for them though is if they're going to look at Serie A, they also need to think about what clubs specifically, because when you look at clubs right now that are in their realistic means, there's so much interest right now in Serie A that I actually don't see a lot of those players leaving as much. But actually, now you mention it, realistically, there are some good 27 to 29-year-old players that could go into that team and give it a little bit more oomph and experience.
Exactly.
I'd be like,
they've already signed a centre-back from... Sorry to cut you off. Southampton have already signed a centre-back, a 20-year-old from Hoffenheim, Joshua Corshi. 3.5 million euros. So I think we'll see a lot.
3.2 million.
I think we'll see again younger talent. I think that will be the aim. I think they'll probably go for younger players and develop them, see what they can sell on. Look for resale value. I'm just curious of what's going to happen with Leicester though. Really,
I just hate clubs.
That's a mess.
I just hate
Leicester's
clubs
an
that just
absolute shit
go.
show.
I just hate clubs that just go from building these young quality players in an exciting team to then go, we'll just sell them and do nothing. Like Brighton actually did what I said they were going to do. Like I called it. I called it. Brighton will get to the point where actually they go, lads, we can't keep doing this. We have to spend. They've got a midfielder that I would sign in a heartbeat. Everybody knows that.
And speaking about Magic, just before we jump in to a certain Leicester City, which they are going to be the club that we crucify the most tonight.
I don't think they are.
Welcome in, sir.
Oh my God, Doug is actually here, and I don't like his caption. I'm ready to leave.
Oh, don't worry. I'm sorry.
Listen here, Doug. We did it first. Cry more. You're not that special. We did the 20 thing first.
Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yeah,
we can hear you loud and clear.
Sorry,
That's
should we
good.
be quieter?
That's good. Sorry, I wasn't sure of my because StreamYard doesn't like my voice for some reason.
It's racist to Scottish people, mate. We know.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a full fuck StreamYard chant the other day on one of my channels because I had to spend 20 quid on Restream just to do a stream on just for that because of StreamYard. Only for it to last one day. I was raging.
Yeah, I've gone completely away from StreamYard just because obviously like the high prices, etc. And as well, I just I don't think it's reliable anymore.
It's constantly getting problems, yeah.
So I think the best thing I would suggest, if you ever have StreamYard problems, try and find something else, Restream or anything like that.
What else do you use?
I use EV Mux.
Oh, is that the one that you use with Is that the one that you and Carl both use?
Yes.
Yeah, I like that platform. To be fair, that's a good platform.
Yeah. Aye. So yeah, I would give it a bit of a consideration maybe to go away from.
And I don't want to spend.
But
I don't want to spend £40 a month on StreamYard. It's so expensive.
That's ridiculous.
They're really expensive. I think Jamie Phillips was telling me that apparently the highest he pays I think £80 a month, which is astronomical.
That's
80
absurd.
quid. 80 quid a month.
Yeah.
What the hell? Like you only get like the max 400 hours now for storage as well.
Yeah.
I don't even know what EV Mux is standard wise, but like I need big storage.
£20 a month, I think.
It's alright. How much storage do you get?
I honestly can't tell you off the top of my head, but it may be worth looking into, I think.
I might actually check it because it might be good for the World Football Podcast as well. Like, to consider that. But aye, it's good to see you, my man.
Yeah, good to get on. I didn't think I'd get on this evening, but managed to get a bit of free time. So yeah, you've got me until whenever you want me to go.
We're just gonna keep going now. We're good.
Yeah, so I'll bring you into this one obviously first, Doug. So we spent the first hour slandering random teams across the board, and now we're slandering the absolute frauds at the bottom. We've done the Southampton slander. Now it's on to the Leicester slander, who in fact are in a worse position with Southampton. Honestly, terrible season for the Foxes. Where do they go from here?
I think they need to sack Van Nistelrooy, because I know that his assistant has just become Cardiff manager, which I find hilarious. I always thought that Steve Cooper last season was a gamble, especially with his Forest roots. And again, that didn't really work. I thought at the time it was kind of a good appointment, but I think if you look back on it, I think you've got to say that defensively they were shambles. I think what really undone him was the defeat against Forest, because I think many people kind of saw after that it was kind of, you look at some of the signings they made as well. Like I think Odsonne Edouard is the worst of the lot because we didn't really see him.
He has not worked. He's not worked in the Premier League at all.
I'd say as well. I think Ayew was probably their best signing.
That's their best player of the season.
Yeah,
Daka's dropped off massively. He's dropped tremendously.
Yeah, along with Buonanotte as well. But where do Leicester go? I mean, I said it on my video, and you can obviously go back and check, but feels like the bailiffs are waiting for them. And from what I can understand and sort of hear,
take it away.
from what I can understand and what I've heard from my Leicester friends, it ain't looking good, because I've heard that it could be a 12 to 15 point deduction they could be facing. So
if they get that, honestly, they are. I'm expecting them to catch up, but they would need the absolute perfect season after that, just to even get close to the playoffs.
I don't even think that's likely though, because we saw it with Reading in League One. When you're going to go through that much turmoil after relegation, there's always the chance that you're stuck at the bottom because of and you need a galvanizer almost to be in the building to be able to push through that negativity. We saw it with Dyche, with Everton, not the season just gone, the one before. They had that 10-point deduction and they won, I think, 3 games in the space of a week or something ridiculous like that. But I don't.
But in Leicester's case as well,
I don't know who Leicester go for.
I actually think weirdly enough, because we all thought like Danny Roll and Cifuentes would be like the fight between Southampton and Leicester, and obviously Southampton have obviously went for Will Still, and it's an interesting point which we've discussed on. But you know what? See, for the sake of the championship, and they might not have a lot of money to spend, but there's no worth a risk or a gamble. Leicester may as well just hire Sean Dyche.
Mhm.
He's not got a job, so I'd be like, go for it. Give him
Well,
the job.
he lives in around that area, so
Yeah,
exactly. He'd
it
walk
would
to
make
work.
sense. I
One
don't know
thing I
if you.
will say, just to jump in very quickly, I think Leicester were really lucky as well, because cast your mind back before they came up and just before they lost Maresca, they were very close to a punishment from the EFL, and the only reason they got out of it
Playoffs.
was because of their promotion to the Premier League, and the
Yeah.
fact that the league transition was just after they were found guilty of all of the overspending on FFP.
Which is disgusting. It's
It is.
disgusting.
I
They
think
should
as well. If you look at Leicester, I think they could get worse. They are facing a transfer embargo as well, which
Mhm.
I think if you look at Leicester as a whole, that squad needs a lot of freshening up.
Yeah.
I also look at Leicester as a point as well. I just don't get why they have been so badly run recently. Because when you look at them in like when Rodgers was there, they were very, very well run.
Yeah.
But now, ever since sort of after getting rid of Rodgers, they've just became a team that isn't run very, very well.
I think I've got
because
a fear.
speaking to the Leicester boys like Ant, etc., the
Yeah.
thing that you found, and obviously you got the sad story of Vichai, but Vichai was ruthless. If you lost more than 6 games in a row or had a losing run
You were gone.
of 0-6, you were out of the door very swiftly. He did it with Ranieri. He did it with Claude Puel. And I don't know
That's
what it was,
true.
but Iwat, he never once. There was something there. He was just so slow with Brendan Rodgers, and that ultimately got them relegated because it was just so late. And then ever since then, it's just been one bad decision after another bad decision, after not adjusting properly with the finances and overspending. And from there, it's just been a snowball, and where they've dug themselves into a rut that they can't get out of.
I have a theory. I think they were so reluctant to let go of Brendan Rodgers just because Brendan Rodgers is actually a nice, calming individual, despite the fact obviously he is prone to losing his temper. He's actually a really nice guy. And I think they were hoping that a mild-mannered, good person in charge of the football club could at least not be a big distraction from behind the scenes, but it lets the situation actually ease itself off so they can concentrate.
Yeah.
But then they realise actually it's so bad with Rodgers in charge that we can't keep him here, despite the fact he's actually a good individual. We have to let him go. And I think that's my theory on it. I think that's
for
that's
me,
what I think
when Rodgers did get sacked, I feel like it was supporter pressure that got it in the end, because they were starting to hammer the owner.
They got rageful.
They did, which has obviously never happened since they took over in 2010, and that was after they went. They had all near-in administration and stuff, which is just wild to think what they've done in 15 years, pretty much from that. But now it's a lot of it was going to Rodkin, because obviously you've got this ownership structure there, and they've got footballing people on the board. But it's just the decisions made at that level as well that is just completely hopeless. Like I said at the start of the season, it may surprise a lot of people. I love Steve Cooper as a manager. I really respect what he's done, but
which we know.
Absolutely. But at the end of the day, as much as it was a panicked appointment and they had to panic it because of what Maresca did to them, but I think they just didn't give him enough time throughout the season to build it and ease it through. And they just, unlike Rodgers, they just pressed the panic button so quick. And obviously, because he did manage Forest, I do think there was that little bit of essence in there of where it just completely went wrong. But
I think they made the mistake. I think they made the mistake of they went so far in on Maresca's style of football only for the Chelsea job to become available, and they're like, well, we're a team that plays this kind of football, but we said it ourselves.
Why get someone else completely different in though?
Exactly, and we said it ourselves, like, look how close Leicester were to almost bottling the league.
Yeah.
Like they were so close to bottling it after being so far ahead, and you're like, well, where's all that cockiness now? Oh yeah. But then you get rid of Maresca, Well, you don't really get rid of Maresca. Maresca gets the opportunity to go and get a better job, and he's actually... Chelsea fans are thinking he's still going to get the sack, which says a lot. But you can't go from playing possession football all of a sudden to playing defensive, narrow, compact style that these players aren't even good enough to do, to then going to Van Nistelrooy, who, no offence to Van Nistelrooy, done really well at PSV, but he was taken out from underneath him by his assistant, and that completely lost trust in the club. It goes to Leicester and does alright for Man United, where there's no pressure as the interim manager, gets the full-time Leicester job. They expect him to do miracles. It's not Van Nistelrooy's fault. Again, it hasn't worked out, obviously. It has not worked out, but I think he's had so much blame put on him when actually it's simply Leicester did not manage the situation at all, and they deserve what they got. The fans don't, but behind the scenes they deserve it. If you're going to replace a manager, don't go from one spectrum to the other when it comes to football style. That's delusional planning. We say about Man United, we say about Liverpool, we say about Chelsea. Our clubs are all guilty of it. Even Cardiff are guilty of it.
Oh god, yeah.
Like, you shouldn't be doing that shit. If you're going to play a style of football, don't go and get something else that's completely different. You go for what follows in transition.
What's really worrying for Leicester as well, they haven't made the decision on Van Nistelrooy yet. His backroom staff are going very quickly, which is absurd considering Brian Barry Murphy was the third or fourth choice for the Cardiff City job, which everyone knows my opinions on that anyway. But you got you're 7 weeks out from the Championship season. Players return from pre-season on Monday. Have you left it so long to put all this in place? Like, surely you should be proactive by now.
If this was any other club, they would be absolutely slaughtered for this.
Yeah.
They would. I don't know what Leicester are doing, but if you're going to get rid of Van Nistelrooy's backroom staff, you can't keep the man.
Correct.
That's like Mourinho at Man United in his final season. You got rid of his whole backroom staff just to give him Carrick and McKenna.
I think as well, when you look at Leicester, I think it's so different to the Sheffield United situation, because obviously they had like a -3 points deduction, but if Leicester go into a season with -12, -15, they're already on catch-up.
Yeah,
massive catch-up, yeah.
And
remember Hearts as well, when Hearts had that big deduction?
Oh, yeah.
What, -20?
I do remember that as well. But no, I'll say it here. I honestly think they're at risk of going to League One.
I agree.
Yeah.
And it's not just me that's saying that, it's actually Leicester fans that are actually saying that as well.
It wouldn't surprise me at all, because looking into next season, as nerdy spoiler, like we've already said it on the show before, and we said it a little bit in the review as well, next season is completely different to the last couple of years, with the rotations of the yo-yo clubs, or as Reece likes to call them, the stripper clubs. Next year is really tight. You've got one team in particular coming up from League One who could double promote like Ipswich did. You've got two of the teams coming down who are going to be in the middle of the pack. Loads of teams getting stronger in the middle as well. A few teams, like one I don't want to mention because it still absolutely infuriates me, that has got new owners and is showing ambition, who I think are in the playoffs at the moment. Swansea.
Oh, right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think definitely play, even like the likes of Millwall are looking dangerous as well. They're really
I absolutely agree.
Like, I could name about 20 teams who are going to be pushing for playoffs next year. If Leicester get it wrong, they're going to be with your Charltons, who just haven't built enough yet.
Yeah.
But it could potentially... Obviously, Sheffield Wednesday are going to finish bottom, no matter what happens. Then Charlton second bottom, considering the way they haven't built a top, mind it is early days. And then for me, it's going to be between Leicester and Preston.
You think Sheffield Wednesday
nothing changes?
Bottom?
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
They're about to get a huge points deduction from the EFL. And Danny Roll, absolute mess. Free transfer embargoes. We'll be here till tomorrow morning.
Yeah, no, that's that. I didn't actually realise that. So that's obviously good to good thinking going into next season's predictions. But I find it really funny as well when people say that Sheffield United were very unlucky not to go up. Their form, I think, since Christmas was patchy at best.
Yeah.
And I'll say it now. Chris Wilder deserved to go.
Correct.
I cannot for the life of me imagine why they're going for Ruben Sellers though. I think that's an absolutely crazy move.
For me, it's a firefighter role. So his last two jobs, Reading was in between. Well, he was just trying to pick up the pieces from Dai Yong before the imposed disqualification, and then before that it was Hull, obviously when the new Turkish owners came in, they just started firing money left, right, and centre, and that was another firefighter job, and they just didn't know what they were doing after Rossinia. But I don't know why you go. I know I have my concerns about Sheffield United, especially there's some elements of the squad I like and don't like, but I know the points deduction was only a sneeze compared to what we've seen before. But I was praying that they did not go up, because they would be worse than Southampton were this season by an absolute mile. Like, they wouldn't have invested. I know that for a fact. The style of play wouldn't have worked, because it's already been seen before in the Premier League. It's completely different from what it was in 2019, and it would have been a disaster.
I think the only thing Leicester can take away from this season is that Jamie Vardy might get 200 goals in his 500th appearance. That's all I can take away from this season, because
that was a beautiful ending.
Yeah, no, it was a very, very good ending, but a very, very poor season from their point of view. And
where the hell?
As I said, the bailiffs are waiting.
Can't pay, will take it away. Yeah, I don't know where he's gone, mate.
He dropped off, and I was like, "Where the fuck did he go?"
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. See if anything on Twitter.
Because I'm here.
Nah, he was celebrating. He's like, "Where's Doug tonight? Where's Doug tonight?" But yeah, moving on to the last one, we'll touch on them quickly because I do think they were just unlucky. Ipswich. I mean, pains me to see him finishing 19th, but they were just stuck in a rut.
I think the three words, or actually the one word you can describe all the bottom three is naive.
Yes.
I think Ipswich fans thought they were better than they were. Now, it's all right saying that.
Yes.
It's all right saying that. I seen predictions, really wild predictions. Like, I seen oh, we're gonna finish in the top half. We're gonna finish in the European places. Or no, just hold your horses. You're in the Premier League for the first time in 22, 23 years.
I mean, I can't say much. Mine's on the screen.
I think the recruitment was average at best. I did not rate Muric in the goal for Ipswich.
That was a shocking
Jacob Greaves, I could understand. That was a really good signing from Hull City.
Mari Hutchinson was good.
Yeah, Mari Hutchinson was great.
Delap was a good signing considering they made their money back as well and gained
profit. Delap was
very
a
good
revelation for them. Was 13 goals for Ipswich, which
and he had a good debut for Chelsea as well last night.
Mm-hmm. So, no, I feel for them going down. It remains to be seen, obviously, if Kieran McKenna is still there, because there is obviously still rumours about Brentford, which I don't think will go away. As long as they don't give it to Scott Parker, that's the one thing.
They're going to be interesting.
I think Ipswich did okay. I think they were. Obviously, I know no league positions have obviously said that Leicester were better than Ipswich, but in my opinion, I think Ipswich gave it more of a go.
Yeah.
And they had some good wins in there. Bournemouth, Chelsea. I think they drew at Stamford Bridge after being 2-0 up, I think it was.
It is.
Gave us a game and all.
But they had some good wins. They had some good performances in there. So.
And there was only you had it on the odd occasion, but I cast my mind back to obviously with us. But I think Ipswich did it better in the majority of their games. They were never battered.
No.
When I look at,
aside from the odd occasion.
Exactly.
They gave it a go, they just couldn't get it over the line.
Ipswich did exactly, when we did our prediction stream last year, for the start of the season, Ipswich did exactly what I said they were going to do. They were going to come into the league. I had them obviously to finish 12th, and that was because I actually liked the fact that they were going to come in and just do something different. I thought
another thing I said, sorry, just to jump in quick as well. When you always look at teams that get double promoted from League One, obviously we had it with Southampton and Norwich in the early 2010s.
Mm-hmm.
The momentum carried them through, and I don't actually know if there's ever been. I think Ipswich are the first. If there's been a team that's been double promoted that went straight back down, they've always seemed to build in mid-table.
Exactly.
If that's correct, I don't know whether.
True. No, that's true. What I said about Ipswich on the prediction stream, I still stand by it, and they did, even though they got relegated. I said Ipswich were going to come into the Premier League, and they may not stay up, even though I thought they would. I was like, even if they don't stay up, they're actually going to treat this league seriously, and they're going to take a fight to the league, and they're going to try and do everything they can to stay in. They actually took the league seriously. Leicester didn't take the Premier League seriously. Southampton sure as hell didn't take the Premier League seriously at all. But I think Ipswich were an absolute joy to watch, and I hope it's not long before they're back in the league, except this time when they come back at Portman Road, actually invest a little bit, give Kieran McKenna some actual money to spend, and actually improve your squad, and you might actually stay up next time.
Yeah.
But then again, that also says a lot, because the gap between the Championship and the Premier League is getting so much bigger that realistically, how much money does a Premier League promoted club now have to spend just to stay? Because the Premier League clubs have got so much money that they can spend above their means over big European clubs that are European trophy winners. Like, I think we've all agreed before, no club like Bournemouth should be outspending a club like AC Milan.
That's absurd.
But they can, and it's insulting to the name of the club. It's also insulting to the heritage of a club.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're Bournemouth, and we'll touch on now while we're at it, because
that's what they have to
with
do.
the chipping in and out, is you look at their stadium, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now you look at their training ground. It's one of the best in the UK. And you just think, considering where they were 15 years ago, when you had the likes of, obviously, Blackpool in the Premier League, and they were just about, well, they had 3 stands, for God's sake. And you see them now, it's just, you just see this training ground, and you're like, how on earth has this happened? I know it's just phenomenal ownership, but like, with the money in the Premier League, it shouldn't be happening. Where you're competing with the likes of AC Milan. No offense, obviously, to Bournemouth, because I love what they've done, but
it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like, it really doesn't make sense.
If we're being honest with ourselves, Ipswich for me are the more equipped team going down next season to have a chance of going straight back
100%.
up. I think Southampton have a bit of a transitional period with both still, and who knows what Leicester do, and you know who knows what players they'll get before obviously the embargoes come in for them. It's going to be a very, very difficult season for the 3 of them. But I think Ipswich have a much more better chance of going straight back up than the other 2 do. So she'll be very interesting. But
I agree.
I think at the moment, I would probably say Southampton would probably be top half. Ipswich, for me, I think you will probably get playoffs, and then Leicester,
10th.
Depending on how many points they actually get, I could actually see them finishing bottom half. I'm not so sure they'll go down.
If it's over 15 for me, then I'm going to say relegation battle with the strength of the Championship next year. Anything below 15, I reckon they'll be mid-tables pushing playoffs.
I think if they get a 15 points deduction, I think they'll finish 18th in the Championship.
Yeah.
So that'll be, for me next season, that'll be 34 points. When you look at that, 15-point deduction, so you have to win 5 games just to get back to 0.
Yeah.
And then that's another 11 wins plus a draw.
Yep.
from 46 games. So I'm basically saying I'm expecting Leicester City to get close to 17 wins out of 46 league season. I don't think that's delusional in any way. I think that's actually a fair, modest take. But if it's 15 points, they'll struggle. But I think they'll get close to 30 points. I don't think they'll be as bad. But if they start badly, then they're in trouble. The one thing they can't afford to do is they can't afford to lose their first 2-3 games of the season. They have to win them. But then again, though, we know that the FA and the EFL can be quite cruel when it comes to it. There's a high chance that Leicester might start the season with bang on same amount of points. They get, I don't know, up to 15, 20 points, and then they just deduct them straight from there.
Because that happened when Derby got their extra 9, wasn't it? Because I'm pretty sure they went down to minus 20 or something ridiculous.
They fucked them up like.
Oh, they did.
They're like, oh yeah, you've clawed in a little bit of your deduction. Here's more.
Yeah.
You can't do that. Like
that'll be Sheffield Wednesday next year.
Yeah, as a governing body, you can't do that. If you're going to give them a points deduction, you give them 1, and that's it. You don't go and give them 2 or 3 more. Like there's stupidity, and then there's genuine cruelty. And what they did to Derby, in essence, was fucking cruel.
Oh, it is.
And if it happens to Sheffield Wednesday, I don't know how Sheffield Wednesday are going to cope. I don't. Same for Leicester. If it happens to Leicester, where they get multiple throughout the season, I think a governing body should only maximum impose only 2 bans a season. If it's 2, it's only, or deductions, it's only 2. They shouldn't be able to go above that. It should be legally binding. The governing body and the clubs, you agree it. 2 at any point.
In fact, I'm going to say this now. Whenever you have to put a points deduction in, the director or the /owner, because obviously both have to take them, have to retake their fit and proper test.
I actually agree with that.
That's a very good thing, actually.
Because at the end of the day,
I
keep back. There was a petition banging on about it for ages, and there's 3 considerable elephant in the rooms with it. This is one of them. And also, you need to add the likes of Chansiri and a few other owners in there, especially the ones in League One.
Well, here's one as well that I think stands out. This might sound very harsh, but it reflects my own club. I think if you're in an excess amount of debt, and I've said this to Julio before in a group chat, and I believe I've said on here before, if you're an owner of a football club and your debt exceeds, say 800 million to over $1 billion, and you're one of the big clubs, if you've got an excessive amount of debt and you are not willing to pay it back or pay it off,
right back.
and you keep leveraging your debt, like, because the Glazers leveraged their debt for years, and they continue to just do that. If you're unwilling to pay it back in a mandatory agreement, then you should get Roman Abramovich. You should be forced to sell the club you own.
Basically, what the EFL did with Dai Young as well, because he was made to resit his test. He was refusing to pay staff. Everyone knew the story. He then had he was disqualified in the March. He had until May until the club were formally disqualified. Yeah. But I think because you've got all these, and I'll say about the fan advisory boards, if you've got a terrible owner, then they only touch the sides because they're legally binding, but is it legally binding for the owners to listen to the fan advisory board? Nope.
No, not really.
I've seen that firsthand. But at the end of the day,
that's what I would do as well. I like your suggestion. That's why I'm imposing on the Premier League. Like the Premier League version, for example, like you look at the sheer debt of someone like Man United, for example. There's so much debt, and instead of actually trying to lower it, it keeps getting bigger year on year. And I do find it really funny that obviously I control certain Premier League fan clubs, fan bases. Sorry, obviously I control them by saying, "Oh yeah, we're still going to spend money and sign players," but I actually don't like the fact that it continues to increase on the debt of the club when it's actually destroying the assets the club has. So for me, the Glazers right now, 1.5 billion in debt on the club. They've all got the money to do that. Either they either pay that back, or they sell the club for the equate of the value of the debt. 1.5 billion. Either you sell the club for 1.5 billion, even though the club's worth more than that, or you pay off the debt and you sell it for say 4 billion, sorry.
You know what, as well,
and I think that's very reasonable. Otherwise, the club get a 2-year transfer ban. I don't care. That's my own club, but that shows how important the club means to me.
But Julio raised a really good point earlier. Obviously, one of the first shows he came on, and I really think now with this conversation that we're having, I know we touched on most of the teams, but we'll get back to it shortly because we have to get we'll get Doug in on Liverpool, you guys in on United, etc. I think we're gonna have to do it now, guys.
Tier list.
We have to revisit it if you guys back it.
I'm happy with that.
Let's do it.
Very happy with that. Yeah.
Right, I'll get that prepared now.
Because here's another thing. Actually, I'm gonna switch my light on for this. And I'm actually going to take out a can of bottle of Pepsi Max for this.
Nice.
One of 2 bottles. Pepsi Max Cherry and the good old-fashioned standard Pepsi Max. Here's the thing, and this is what's got me on eggshells about United, and I talk about our debt. Because we've got so much debt, and I know obviously we're the richest clubs in football, but just because we're one of the richest clubs in football and we've got such a high turnover, why are we not actually working to decrease our debt, and instead we're actively increasing it? With the amount of money we've got to owe in transfer fees is ridiculous. We still have to owe all that back. So I'm thinking, look, if they're not willing to do it, if you're not willing to, what's up, Fatal Firestar, or Dan as I should say, good to see you, buddy. If you're not willing to decrease your debt, then you either sell the club, you're forced to sell the club, for the value of the debt. So Manchester United right now are £1.5 billion in debt and rising, or you pay the debt back in full and then you still sell the club at a fraction of the fee. So I would say pay it back, or you're forced to sell 1.5 billion, you get no return, or you sell the club for 3 billion and that's it. All your A class and your B class shares, no arguments, you're out. And to be honest, I would take Ineos with them. Because I don't think Ineos are, even though I've got nothing against Ineos, I don't think Ineos are the answer either. Deep from my dad as well, as a City fan, he keeps laughing at my head because he thinks Jim Ratcliffe is just a money grabbing cunt. And considering the fact he knew he wanted to buy Chelsea before he bought Man United, it says a lot, doesn't it? I hate the fact that that's actually coming back out. They're good too. So, 2 T's, 1 S. And I wish him well in the Italy job. Fatal Firestar, my dude, 100%. Ratcliffe and Ineos are British Glazers. I think even Julio will agree now. And Julio has actually been quite fair to Ineos.
I have been, yeah. See, the thing is,
I'm becoming very concerned about them, though.
I'm in a position where, I try and always look at things.
I'm looking from a broad perspective. I'm not looking at it as just like straight black and white, but I do have some reservations.
Yeah, I'm in that grey area where I look at each individual thing and I see the good and the bad of it. Like, on the one hand, I've seen people who've been working at the club for 25 years. I think it sucks seeing them lose their jobs. I'm not for 1 minute I'm saying, people losing their jobs is good. But on the other hand, if Jim Ratcliffe's walking through the offices at United and he's seeing 5 interns around the photocopier, then of course binning 4 of them, I completely understand with. And I think those are the kind. Here's the thing: even with the sackings overall, I can't sit here and say yes, completely vindicated, yes, completely justified.
Yes.
But I also don't agree with the fans' reaction of he's making these kind of small cuts and people thinking, oh, it doesn't amount to anything. It does. You've got to start somewhere.
It does amount to things, but I think you'll agree with me on this one though. The one big concern I've got with the man, and I'm not going to change my mind on it, his company is one of the richest chemical-based companies in the world. It's over 38 billion or something. Like they're not a stupid bad company in terms of finances, but in terms of the actual effect they could have on the club, they are not making enough effort at all, in my opinion, to try and at least add more in. I'm not saying they should become solely responsible for the debt, but if you are
but the thing is, Reece, he is becoming solely responsible for the debt. He's actually paid a little bit of the debt. I know you want him to pay everything off, and I would love him to pay.
I don't think he should pay everything, but I think if he's in the club now and he is a shareholder, he's got sport
I think
control
he's paying
with
bit
his
by
group.
bit, though. I think he's paying £200 million of the debt off, and
just pay half of it.
I think the only reason, but do you know what? I think that's why he hasn't. He doesn't own half the club. He's only going to pay I think he's looking at it from a very business point of view.
He owns what? 29? Is it 29% of the club he owns?
Yeah, and he's paid about that off.
I think realistically, and this is what the Glazers should do. If he was to do more, say for example, he paid off say 40% of the club's debt or 45%. Then he sells his stake in Nice, but he buys a 45% stake in United, and then he pays the 45% of the debt off. And at least that shows ambition. If he doesn't, and he continues to just twiddle his thumbs over control and all that.
But that's the thing, though. I think that's what's on his mind. I think I respect the fact that if there is as much sentimentality involved as he tries to lead us to believe, I think it's good that he's taking a very business aspect of it, where he's going, I support Man United, I want Man United to win, but at the same time, I don't own 100% of the business. I don't even own 50% of the business. Why should I pay 50% of the debt up front?
What I want to know is, and I've not seen if Nathan, you're on mute. What I want to know is, right, and then we'll let Nathan speak. There's one thing I want to know is, what is stopping Ratcliffe from just going directly to Joe Glazer, etc., and just saying, how much do you physically want for the club, and I will buy it. Like, what's stopping him? Like, any of us are going to be like, well, we've got all the finances here anyway, and he owns the fucking company, so it's not like he's going to say, I can't do it. Like, they can release the funds and then do it.
At the end of the day, I did see it at the start, obviously, when they were at Nice. Nice isn't the greatest run club in the world. That's true.
It's a very scattergun approach to managers.
Very.
It's deadly.
And I saw this coming from miles away when Ratcliffe took the stake in United. And to be honest, are we going to see any different?
No.
And in fact, he's been 10 times worse than I thought he would be. I knew he wouldn't be the greatest, and he wouldn't sort the Glazers out, but I didn't expect it to be this bad.
He's the worst thing as well, and this is the part that bugs me the most. And Doug will agree, because Doug actually done a show about them. When you look at the FSG, were getting absolutely slaughtered about their behaviour in recent years. They were getting,
especially the European Super League as well.
Yeah, they were getting fucking pelters left, right, and centre. The difference is, though, instead of holding their nerve and suffocating their fan base, they started listening to Liverpool fans, and they actually started making more of an effort. Whereas I actually don't think Jim Ratcliffe and etc. are actually going to listen. I think they're going to keep going the way they are, and I don't think you're actually going to see the monetary aspect actually equate to something special. I think the more it continues, and I will never forgive Ratcliffe for saying the words, I need help to facilitate the new Old Trafford from the government. Bitch, please. You've got the fucking money.
Yeah.
Part of me kind of likes that, though, because Manchester United is so poorly run, and I think I kind of respect the fact that he's gone down that avenue, where he's gone, this is going to be a national monument, this is going to be doing concerts, this is going to be doing all sorts. If it's going to benefit the UK and all sorts about it, why don't they pay for some of it? He's got the money. He knows he's got the money. I think it's kind of savvy in a way.
Yeah. I will say as well, another honking take.
I just hate it. It's savvy. I just hate it, I just hate it.
Yeah. I personally think, and this could be a honking take, and I might get flamethrowers thrown at me for this. Probably. I think Birmingham City's sports quarter is a better and more well-planned investment than the whole Old Trafford project.
The what investment? So it cut off for a bit for me there.
Something about Birmingham.
Birmingham sports quarter investment, because they're getting less government money. The government are only funding the public transport aspect of it, and then Tom Wagner and all of his consortium are funding the rest of it. And what they're doing for that area, instead of they're just completely getting an abandoned area of Birmingham right close to the city centre and transforming it. Yet they're still keeping their heritage with St Andrews. That's nice. Impressive.
So I've heard something. I don't know if you guys will have heard this, but apparently Everton have requested their first 2 games to be away from their new stadium because it's not quite ready.
I agree with that. To be fair, I actually think that's
a surprise. Spurs
I actually think
that,
that's a good
and then didn't move in for 6 months.
I think it's good for them. And the good thing about that as well, though, is once that's ready to go, I'm eager to see who their first home game is, though. I think to be fair, I think there's only one football team who should have the privilege or the honour to open the stadium against them. I think they should rig the fixture list. I think the first game at the new Everton Stadium should honestly be the Merseyside derby. Mm-hmm. I honestly think it should be. That, yeah. I honestly think they should rig the schedule and just do it. Same with United. If we get a new stadium, I would rig it. I would honestly say our first game should be Liverpool at home.
I'll bookmark this. I've already put it up, but I think our first game is Liverpool Sunderland Friday 8 p.m.
I've got.
I think so, because Sunderland have to play away for their first match apparently as well.
I think our first game of this. I think our first game of the season. I've gone for Crystal Palace. I think they'll be our first game of the season.
Crystal Palace.
Yeah, get the bastards out of the way because I'm sick of playing Crystal Palace.
Another thing I will say,
I'm just intrigued by this tier list. What's going on here?
Horrible owners.
Yeah, so basically, one of Julio's first streams, we did a tier list on all of the 92's owners. Obviously, we're not going to do the midget clubs with this one because a lot of them are just locally owned, so they're pretty well run, to be fair. But it's just the main hitters in the top 3. And it's basically how good their owner is, basically. So you got Go, excellent, RI. The Gattuso, 50-50, sometimes good, sometimes terrible. Poor, honking, and then the bottom tier, direct disqualification. So these are the ones where you want the EFL to make them reset their fit and proper test and then basically do a red-in.
Well, to be fair, it's more than that because we've got the Premier League clubs as well. Or is this just the... we got a lot. Yeah, we've got all of them. We're really going to be obvious, but I think the best way to do it is we all get 1 pick each and then we'll go top to bottom. So we'll all just get one, doesn't matter where it is, we just do it, and then if we want to argue it at the very end, we'll do it. So I'm saying straight away, for example, if I'm putting in...
Oh no.
I'm putting straight to honking, Man United.
I back that.
I'm putting Man United straight into honking ownership because it's fucking pathetic. Right beside Sunderland.
Got ya.
I'm
20
straight in there.
years you've had the Glazers up. I feel sorry for you.
I know,
crazy.
I know. Well, pretty much my entire adult life, close enough, is absolutely... Well, life in general has been ruined by those cunts.
I don't disagree with this, by the way. If it was just solely the Glazers, I would put them in the next category down. I think what the Ineos have done since they've come in is they've done the absolute very basics that we've been calling for the Glazers to do since Sir Alex left, which they haven't done that. But then again, Ineos, I'm not going to say Ineos are doing... I think the jury is still out on Ineos 18 months in because they're doing some good, but they're doing some bad. Ineos alone, for me, is Gattuso. I think. Definitely, and I think putting United overall in honking for these 2 owners, I think is probably the fair ground, a fair place to put them in.
Because for me as well, thinking about it, there's one other top 6 club, traditional top 6, that goes in the Gattuso.
Tottenham.
Not quite.
Oh wait, traditional top 6. Chelsea.
Yeah. Arsenal.
Nah, Arsenal are the same as us. Arsenal are honking, mate.
No, because mainly because of the changes that they've done since protests.
Yeah. How can you say Arsenal? How can you put them in poor? I'm eager to hear this.
Because, well, did the Cronkies come in before or after the Emirates move?
After.
Just after.
Just after.
The Cronkies have been in since, I want to say 09-10.
Yeah.
Yeah. For many years.
I'm going to check. Hold on.
They weren't quite direct to disqualification because obviously they're not. They were honking for a great period.
Reserved for people, trust me.
Exactly. A lot can be made of Silent Stan and what he did, and with the likes of even Gazidis and what they did. They were just in honking for a great majority. But then when Silent Stan took a step back and. Sorry, I can't get over this. Doug, you're drinking. It feels like you're judging me with everything I'm saying, the way you're drinking it.
That's because I
concentrate.
No,
absolutely.
Honestly, I've been nursing like a sore throat the last couple of days.
Wow.
No, I'm not looking at you in any way. Don't worry.
I know. I just kept looking down at you there like...
Have you guys seen how old Stan Kroenke actually is?
I think he's in his 80s, isn't he?
He's close. He's 77. He's 78.
Wow,
in July.
leather chair.
He's 78 in July.
1 year younger than the president.
I know. It's funny. So, he bought Arsenal...
I stand by
Ford again, sorry.
Yeah.
He took over.
Go, excellent. What's that third one?
Alright.
Like the two so poor honking and directed the score. Okay.
Just like the EFL, basically.
Yeah, we're pretty much close. He took control of Arsenal in 2011. 62.8.
See, that's quite interesting.
62.89%.
Because that's where it started to tail off as well.
That's really when it started to go bad, because that summer they lost Nasri, Fabregas, and Clichy and replaced them with the square root of fuck all, and that's when it got really bad. That was the.
And then the year after you had Van Persie Gate as well.
Yeah, but that was the year where they lost the first three of the first 5 games or something ridiculous like that. They lost to Blackburn away, who ended up going down. They lost 8-2 to United. Obviously, there was a lot of injuries and whatever. But yeah, I would put Arsenal in poor because since they were honking for a long period of that, because there was such a decline. Yeah. And, everyone thought, oh, it's Wenger. He's still trying to look for cheap deals. But until that Premier League deal came in, where in 2017, 4 or 5 of the top 6 spent big money on forwards. They didn't really spend a lot. And it was only the last couple of years of Wenger where they did.
Yeah.
And then obviously after Wenger goes, there's the Emery thing. And then after the protests for the Super League, Josh Kroenke takes more control, takes more of he's less like his father, he's not Silent Stan. He's in the face of it, and ever since you can see that they've spent money and they've tried to build a team, they've tried to progress. Granted, they've bottled every race they've been in every year, which is hilarious.
100%. And no trophies for 5 years. Because I'll say it now, because I'll touch back a bit to obviously our Premier League review. I genuinely think Tottenham have had a better season than Arsenal.
Oh, I stand by that as well. They have.
Right.
Do you know what? This is the one time where I disagree with that whole trophy thing, because I think Tottenham was so objectively bad overall. I can't look at their trophy.
And again, they still got in Champions League though.
They still got in the Champions League, granted, and they won a trophy, but I cannot forget how objectively bad they were. Because normally I would agree with it, but I'd say even if it was United, I'd say the exact same thing with United, because it was so objectively bad that it was so poor. It's because the amount of times I've also said on this channel that you can always fluke a cup run. There are teams that do fluke cup runs.
They didn't fluke the Europa League though, to be fair.
No, but I just think they were so bad overall. Great job that Ange won the trophy and that. Well done, United, for bottling that. They should, to be honest, United should have done better and should have gone on and won it. They didn't.
Ryan, I don't disagree. As a football team, Arsenal are definitely better than Spurs, but 100%, your second point is spot on. Like the better overall, better season. we've said it so many times, and I'm sick of saying it. I'm sick of saying, if you're not in it to win trophies, go play badminton. Football is about trophies. No one cares about second best. No one cares about finishing below first. It's either you win it or you get shot. That's how it should be. Liverpool done the object, and I said it last season as well. Liverpool won the league. Give all the fucking TV money to Liverpool, because they're the only team that fucking deserves it.
They're the only team that turned up out of the top 6, to be honest.
Yes, like it's the film hasn't aged well since 2001, technically, but there's an old saying from 2001, and it goes, doesn't matter if you go by an inch or a mile, winning is winning. Little throwback to the Fast and Furious, but if you're not in it to win, then get the fuck. That's all that matters. So yeah, so like I stand by in that circumstance. Like, have Arsenal got a better football team? Yes. Have they had a better season than Spurs? Hell no.
And then saying that then as well.
I would agree with that, because that's solely on the basis of, have they achieved anything?
Yeah.
No. Arsenal have achieved anything.
Arsenal have achieved the 2 wins over Real Madrid, and apparently, they took PSG the closest apparently. Apparently that for them is their treble. Come back and talk to me when you win football trophies, because you haven't done that in a long time. You bunch of dorks. You haven't even had a better season than Crystal Palace. This is the season of season of the birds, but the Gunners, they can't even get over the line once. You go shat on by all them birds, mate.
So speaking about Tottenham, then why are we chucking them?
Same as Man United. To be honest, same as Man United. Honking, honestly, because ENIC, or whatever they're called, ENIC for years have spent so much money when they've been in realistic conversations to win trophies, and then they make horrible decisions and back out when it matters most. Mourinho still stands out as the biggest bloody mistake, because I actually think I said to you guys, we were on a stream at the time, I think if they had kept Mourinho, they would have won that cup final.
I mean,
Mourinho kind of had Pep Tamber
a serial trophy winner days before a cup final where you haven't won silverware in over 10 years.
That was hilarious.
Ryan, the list is based on, in general, about ownership. I don't know if what we're doing in terms of like timescale. Are we doing the last 10, 15 years, lads, or what do you want to do?
No, it's current, mate.
Current, well, Man United are still honking anyway.
Absolutely.
I know one that goes immediately into the bottom tier.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Watford.
Oh
Yes.
my god. The what's it called? The Pozzos.
Was that like 23 managers in 15 years or something that they've had?
It's a horrible record. It's a horrible record.
And they've also basically pulled the plug now on funding with them. And there's a massive there's a thing with Guggenheim as well, where there's a bit of dispute with the ownership with Udinese, because they're trying to put all their eggs in the one basket with Watford, which is scary.
They could be in trouble next season.
Oh, 100%.
So basically, their owners have done a Berlusconi. They've just pulled the money. That's shocking. Like,
I actually thought Tom Cleverley did a good job last season.
He did.
I was absolutely amazed that he was sacked. Not amazed with the fact that the Pauls was voted, like, got rid of him, etc. But the fact that Cleverley's now Plymouth manager.
Yes.
Yeah, he's Plymouth. I'm surprised.
Cleverley's now Plymouth manager. I just think there needs to be a really hard look at this Pozzo family, because sacking managers year after year after year after year is not healthy.
Their last 2 Prem seasons, they had 3. I think they had 3 managers in each of those seasons.
Yeah, they're in the bottom one as well. Don't you worry.
Oh, the Venkies, I agree.
Absolutely straight. I'm going to leave Wolves to you, by the way, Ryan G. Because obviously you've got Fossen in, but at the start, because obviously we had your battles with them. But where would you say they are now? After a few years, questionable decisions and bits and pieces, they're potentially a Gattuso for them, for me.
Thanks very much, Ryan.
Legends.
You're more than welcome to appear on our channel at any point as well. Football wise, it's always good to chat to fellow fans, so nice meeting you. What was your thoughts on the Wolves season?
Yeah.
And shout to João Gomez, I want him. I'm shameless, lads, but at least I'm honest.
I want to put Southampton, and I can't decide whether to put them in poor or honking.
I think they
Definitely
are
honking.
Because
yeah.
The only reason I think I want to put them in poor is the fact that I think the full Czech ownership's not been in effect for. It's not even been 3 years, has it, since it's been in full effect? And also the fact that they did come up at the first time of asking last season, and they did spend money. But I think, like I said earlier in this stream,
are they worse than the Glazers and Daniel Levy and stuff?
That's the thing.
I don't think they are.
Like Levy's the reason Tottenham can't push on.
Yeah.
Just look at the fact that they're still one of the lowest. Like, when you look at club like wages wise, that's a fair take.
Yeah.
Again, that's a very fair take. What I was gonna say, yeah, if you sell it to Man United, I'll make sure that you get, I don't know. We'll slip in something. We'll slip in something for you guys. We'll give you, I don't know. I'll put a few words in. Maybe we'll get you Lindelof as a free agent to your club. We'll take João Gomez. What I was going to say actually, and this is something that stands out for me, from all the traditional Big Six clubs, even though I hate that statement and that whole term, but top four, Big Six, all that crap.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of player wages, Tottenham are the lowest as well. That's why they don't compete, because they don't give the players like the competitive contracts to go, well, we're actually giving you the contracts that stays, we're going to go and win shit. Like, they should be.
The ratio is like highest like results and stuff for the lowest wages or something along those lines, and it's why they don't. It's why they lose out. It's why they're the bum.
This has just came in from Sky Germany. RB Leipzig want a deal worth somewhere between 68.4 million and 85.5 million for Arsenal target Benjamin Seschko, according to Sky in Germany.
I'd say 55 max.
He's not that. To be honest, if I was Arsenal, I wouldn't do that.
I would say about 48 million plus some add-ons, or 40 million plus a player on loan.
Do you know what's crazy? I think Arsenal would be better off maybe going for Ekitike over Seschko.
The problem is Frankfurt want 84 million for him.
I know.
I think they do need a striker though. But see, the funny thing is, I actually think Arsenal are going to do the same thing again. I don't think Arsenal are going to get a striker this summer.
It doesn't feel like they might. Do you know what? I'd be surprised if they actually get this over the line, because I think that they're fanning about too much with this striker deal. It's almost like they don't know who they want. They don't know how much they want to pay for it.
And the proper
transfer don't think there's value in the market. Yeah, exactly. This Zubimendi thing, we've got a here we go, but there's nothing been more on it. And I'm just thinking, Arsenal have to be serial bottlers if you're bottling a here we go. Like, come on.
Here's a funny thing, right? And I'm starting to get concerned. They'll never be as good as them. But are you guys starting to get vibes that Arsenal are building the Euro 2012 Spain team, where they didn't go into a league campaign at all with a recognised striker, except that Spain team obviously knew how to win. But Arsenal seem to be stacking the deck with midfielders and wingers that they don't actually know what they want. I think Arteta's really bad at planning out his targets for his teams. That's why I don't think it's.
Do you know? I don't think it's just him. I think there's got to be questions about the board with Edu beforehand. You know, there was plenty of opportunities in the market. I think Arsenal should have signed Julian Alvarez last year. I think they should have done whatever it took to bring him in, because I think he would have been perfect for the way that what they want in a striker. And
good idea.
Because I always like to say that they need like a Luis Suarez regen, you know, a prime Luis Suarez on the market, which obviously there isn't. You know, that striker who's very good at linking up with players around him.
An all-round complete player, yeah.
Yeah, someone who you could play behind an out-and-out number 9. Do you know what I mean?
Not? I look at other players and I think people scoff their nose up at certain leagues. Oh, they scoff up at the Bundesliga because it may not be the best transition, or they scoff up at Serie A because it's overly, it may be overly defensive. But that's bullshit. That's just people not understanding football. But I look in the leagues, like, they're actually interesting options, like Joaquin Carrera, for example, is a fantastic young centre forward. You can actually build a decent team around him. He may not be an absolute pinpoint 30-goal season striker, but He gets you 15, 18 league goals.
Mm-hmm.
There's a good move. For example, Ciro Immobile wants to get the fuck out of Turkey.
Mm-hmm.
Ciro Immobile is
a striker who can score goals. Done.
But you know what it is?
As a veteran,
I think Arsenal
are
like,
dogmatic in that way.
They're a little bit like Spurs in a way, where they would rather pay more money to pay overtime to have a player they can work on over time. Kind of like why they didn't buy Wilfried Zaha and brought Pepe instead. They didn't want to pay 80 million up front for a player of that age, and that, so they would rather pay the 72 over a certain amount of time. I think Pepe was a little bit younger as well.
He was a year or two younger, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's why there's more focus on Šeško as opposed to like the likes of Gyökeres. You know, I think if they had their way, they could. Because I think what you've got with Havertz and Jesus, there are some good attributes there, but they're not lethal goal scorers. But if they signed Ekitike, for example, there is that element where you can play a striker formation with one of Havertz or Jesus and Ekitike, and Ekitike can play. Because I've always said they need that kind of wide forward, and I think there is that kind of potential.
I think this is Arsenal's problem. This is something as well that Arsenal do.
I think it's poor recruitment and poor planning. They bought cast-offs of other Premier League clubs, and now they're like, damn, what do we do now?
Yeah, I agree. I also think as well, when you look at Arsenal, Arteta is in his ways about the 4-3-3, and I understand that. And to be fair, that's the system he grew up in. It's the system he obviously favours the most. But I think like he's got so many players that play as a natural number 10, and he doesn't play a number 10 system. And I'm like, that is nullifying the likes of Odegaard. It nullifies the likes of Havertz, and I'm like, you can play Mikel Moreno and Declan Rice beside each other, or God forbid, switch up, put Saka beside a natural 9 and play a diamond system midfield. He's got a good base midfielder of Moreno, Rice, and Zubimendi.
The interesting thing there, Reece, is there's two issues with the two scenarios you've just given. Number one, he has realised that even though he signed a good footballer in Declan Rice is not very good as a 6, playing passes like forward and that. He's very safe with his passing, and he's very good with legs and going like, you know, more box to box. The other thing with Rice, there are intangibles, you know, like his fitness and like his leadership and what he offers on the pitch. But playing him next to Marino, that's why Arsenal's best midfield was Jorginho and Rice, because you've got Rice who gives you a bit of steel, a bit of legs in the midfield, and you've got Jorginho who's better on the ball, better passer forward.
Yeah.
And then for the other one, like you said, play Saka with a natural 9. Where is this natural 9?
Or even
you've got the Timu equivalent of R9 just without the goals, and you've got a lanky 10 who no one has known where to play for the best part of 5 years now.
You've got the crazy thing is worked for other teams as well. Like Arsenal have got so much strength in midfield, they could play a 4-4-2 diamond. Realistically, their style of play is not going to change. The only difference is it's going to be more reliant on the number 10 operating space and fullbacks being up the field. But you look at their midfield, Jorginho's still there until they let him go. You've still got number 5. You've still got Declan Rice. You've got Zubimendi whenever he joins. You've got Mikel Moreno. You've got Odegaard. You've got Havertz. Realistically, you've got enough players to play 2 natural 8s, a very strong conductive number 6 in Zubimendi. You've got Odegaard and Havertz as 2 10s. Realistically, you could play what? If you're not going to sign a striker, why not play Martinelli or Jan Weri or whatever he's called? Play him with Saka as 2 split strikers as wide forwards, with the number 10 getting more opportunity plays like a centre forward.
I'm surprised Martinelli's not played more down the centre, because he's way more effective. He's way more effective everywhere but where he plays. When he's playing on the right, he's a lot more direct. He doesn't fanny about with the ball. When he plays centrally, he causes some problems as well. And he initially came as a centre forward of some kind. So,
as far as I'm aware, Ryan, the deal is close, but Madrid are trying to hijack it. Madrid are looking at Rodri in the next 2 years as well. Apparently, there's rumours coming that they're looking at Rodri for a cut price deal in the next 2 years, which will be crazy. They've still got a huge buyback clause on Miguel Gutierrez and Kubo. They can get Gutierrez for 8 million. They can get Kubo back.
Gutierrez is such a good player.
They can get Kubo back from Sociedad for 30 million euros.
That'd be insane.
The best run club in world football. It's not even a joke anymore about Madrid. But yeah, I think if Arsenal were, I think They should stop trying to be Man City and just be themselves. And they've got enough players that play a split striker system. I actually think Arsenal would maybe win the league with a split striker system.
Hey,
he is the
fair,
one player I want, Brian. I
just
really want him.
Just want to say, Havertz or Jesus alongside Ekitike. That for me, because I think Ekitike translates better to the Premier League. I think people forget, not just the fact he played in Ligue 1, Newcastle wanted him first instead of Isak, and then they lost out to him and then decided to pay the big dough for Isak. And I think Ekitike now is kind of like what Isak was when he was leaving Sociedad. I just don't like the transfer fee and what league is and what club is coming from, because Frankfurt and strikers is a very, very scary place to buy from.
There is another club realistically where if they're clever they could do something. PSG do have another striker they don't seem to play as much, and he might do well at Arsenal as a decent striker. I'm surprised they've not even... Yeah, Gonçalo Ramos.
Good shout.
He plays more for Portugal than he does for PSG.
Can I put Liverpool in the Gattuso?
Of course you can, but
I actually was thinking you were a little bit higher, but I think that's a decent shout.
I think that is a very
they've had their bad moments, and they've definitely had their good moments. The good moments are definitely Anfield. They're definitely, that main stand is absolutely fantastic. The Anfield Road end is absolutely fantastic. Probably going to be able to expand very, very soon as well. I think they'll expand the Kenny Dalglish stand very soon as well. Maybe move on to the Kop at some point.
Are they in the Gattuso purely because they've done so much in terms of rejuvenating the likes of Millwood? Is that a factor for you?
I think so. I think as well they saved us from potentially going out of business in 2010. We were at a low in 2010.
Yeah. Shaving cream really tried to kill you.
Yeah, I mean, they've, as I've said, they have had their moments. They have had their bad moments. Obviously, the Farlow, the European Super League, and I think if we're being honest, I am happy we've got them as owners rather than obviously you guys got the Glazers and EOS.
No, of course, yeah.
We've had them for 15 years.
They're spending now as well.
They are spending. Yeah. I think the thing is with our model is it's so good. The fact that we buy players, we sell on players as well. It's very sustainable, and I think they've kind of seen now that yes, you might have to pay top dollar to get your Florian Wirtz, and I still can't believe we're getting Florian Wirtz. I honestly can't.
Yeah, I hate it too.
We've obviously got Frimpong signed. Kirkes looks like that could be done next week as well. So potentially to have those three players in already for pre-season is very, very good work.
I love the
data
case,
aspect. Obviously outgoings in as well, because I think I did read. I don't know if you want to come in on this one, Reece, but AC Milan are entered the race for Chiesa. They've also entered the race for Nunez. So
yeah, Chiesa, I absolutely understand in terms of the quality he does bring. He's been unlucky that it hasn't worked in the Premier League, but he's a brilliant player, Chiesa. I think Milan, Milan, no disrespect to Darwin Núñez in any shape or form, but I feel like right now with the fact that he hasn't particularly had a great time at Liverpool, but he's still contributed to goals. I think Milan realistically shouldn't go for him, because I feel like Milan, with such a new season ahead and a lot of change coming in, where they're already a lot of players are leaving. I think the best case is to be a little bit smarter and look within the league, like a Retegui or a Vlahovic or Lorenzo Luca. I think Darwin Núñez would command such a top fee plus big wages. He would definitely bring a lot of dynamism and aggression to the league, and he's such a very fast player. But I feel like the way I look at Milan right now, unless you're playing him with Santi Jimenez up front too, I'm not signing Darwin Núñez to lead the line as a solo striker, because then you're asking for trouble. I don't think he's the best choice.
I honestly think with Napoli being in talks with him, I think Conte's the kind of manager that will get him firing. It's a shame it hasn't worked out for them. I just hope they manage to get like some of the money back. They won't obviously get all the money, but from what I understand, the fee that we paid Benfica for Núñez was like 71 million, because none of the add-ons would actually go up to 84, 85.
They had a big sell-on clause as well. They had to pay back to
the
club they signed them from, so they had to spend.
So I think as well, Núñez would be a very good signing for Napoli. But I want to hear you guys. What do you think of our ownership?
I think you're the only American ownership right now that's actually proven success can be justified and it's doing well. But
I back that.
Methodical as well.
Yeah,
the way they go about it. I already said it, but I love because I've been watching a lot of
slow and steady. I find
I've been watching a lot of interviews that Dr. Ian Graham has been doing. The guy who was the head of the research and the data and that.
He's
until
fantastic.
Pre-2023, I love everything about what he says and how it is, and I love the way that Liverpool made it very self-sustaining. Yes, we can make a joke that how Klopp won everything on a shoestring budget of 75 million for Van Dijk and stuff, and 60 odd million for Alisson, absolute pittance. But all jokes aside, they were transformational signings, and they all happened based on the sale of one player, because one club had stupid money and were desperate and ridiculous and stupid. I think, I really like with Michael Edwards coming back and Klopp going out the door, I knew that because it was going to be solely around what Michael Edwards was going to doing and all the data and the way they would recruit, it would be less about obviously who's played well against us, right? Darwin Núñez, let's sign him. And I knew that they would recruit well. I was because you didn't recruit last summer, I was a bit like, damn, it was part of the reason why I thought you'd finish as low as I said. That was very good from me, but all jokes aside, it's very smart, it's very good data-driven recruitment, and I love it because it's obviously it doesn't consider intangibles. There are some things you can't get across with data. There is some stuff data can tell to help with intangibles, but I think the fact that Klopp period where you were signing players for 30-40 million quid, a lot more so than I think the spine, you got your 60 and then you got your 75, and then you had Fabinho for about 40 odd, and then your forwards all cost about 30 million a piece in terms of your prime starting 11 when you won the league the first time round. That for me is how squad building should be. Yes, you can have your multi-million pound franchise signing, but you don't need 10 or 11 of them. You can get away with 4 or 5 and a lot more reasonable, realistic signings. And I think the way you started this transfer window, I think it's been excellent. I am surprised you paid so much for Wirtz. I'm also surprised that Liverpool went in. I'm surprised they went in for Frimpong as well, because I thought with Trent going, I thought on one hand they would maybe look to replace the liability there, but at the same time, if the system isn't, try and fix it. So I'm also not surprised looking for someone who can offer that attacking output that people would thought, you lose that attacking output with Trent. Well, Frimpong maybe with goals and assists, Wirtz coming in for creativity as well. You can make up those numbers in the aggregate. And I think I was surprised they paid as much wages wise they did for Salah. I thought they would let him go and maybe go in from Burmo as a replacement. I agree with where Liverpool is, because there are points where there was some naivety last few years.
There was questions. I actually have a crazy theory about Liverpool's ownership. I don't know what you guys think, but I think you can tell within the league, Liverpool only react or get proactive towards one football club, and that's Man City.
Yes.
And it's not saying that Liverpool don't give a shit about Man United. They give a shit about Man United. But right now, in terms of competitiveness and close, direct top of the league rival, 100% Man City is their rival. Arsenal have never challenged them at all. Like, Arsenal fans can cry all they want, but Arsenal have never challenged for the Premier League in the last 20 years. Like, I will stand firm on that. They can finish second.
Apart from when they were top for 93% of the season a couple of years ago, and they still finished second.
Yeah, like Arsenal can claim that they've challenged for the league, but the last time I saw Arsenal physically challenge for the league, Eduardo got his leg snapped in half. So there you go. Like, I've never rated post 2010. Arsenal are just there. Like, I remember them, but the minute they got bullied 8-2, that was it. It was over. I didn't care. But Liverpool either react or proact to City, and I think that's a brilliant opportunity. Because look at last summer, City did nothing.
Yeah,
City did absolutely nothing.
City were also naive last summer as well.
Exactly.
Not saying Liverpool were actually. Liverpool
no, it doesn't.
Now, I think more. I think the City were naive.
City absolutely were. City should have spent on the squad in the summer. They didn't. They thought we've won 4 leagues in a row. We're fine.
And then they panicked in January.
Hence why they spent 200 million quid in January.
Exactly. So they react. Whereas Liverpool went, okay then, you're not going to sign anybody. We're going to put Gravenberch in a different position. We're going to make one signing, and then we're just going to carry on our business. Then we're going to sign. Then we'll sign Marmar Dashfully, because we know he's our future behind Alisson. That's it. Exactly, Ryan. Exactly.
Do you know what though? I will admit that I think what has impressed me a lot as well is the fact that they used data to pinpoint Slot as the Klopp replacement. And I thought intangibles, like Klopp was this big personality, and the way I saw him push teams, and then this year after there would be a drop off. I thought that's what we'd see this season, especially with Slot not being Klopp. But credit to Slot, he's come in, he's evolved the team, he's developed players as well, and then he's going to get some quality players to work with. I think that when I was saying naivety, I was talking about that 2 or 3 year spell pre-Klopp leaving where they either weren't signing enough, they weren't doing enough, especially in the midfield,
or they were just saying the squad's good enough to carry on.
Or exactly that. Or where there was that summer, Klopp's last summer? Yeah, it was Klopp's last summer where they were very reactive to the midfielders going. They had 2 sporting directors in the space of a year. They had 3 players ending up coming last year into the last year of their contract. It all seemed a bit of a mess. And I think now that it seems to be leveling itself and sorting itself out, now I think I'm not going to say I'm worried about Liverpool dominating, but I think they can be consistently there.
I think as well that window where we completely transformed our midfield has to be taken a lot of credit for, because we got Endo, who people were calling like a flop. Like, they were like, why are you spending 60 million on Endo? But he's obviously got a Premier League title to his name. Gravenberch was a very important signing. His position has been absolutely fantastic, and rightly so in the team of the season as well. And another thing, Soboslai, I think, was a really good signing. But for me, our best midfielder last season was Alexis McAllister, who I honestly think has a very good CV when it comes for trophies.
Yeah, 100%. And that's another thing about Liverpool that I'm going to say. And this maybe the highest compliment I can give to Klopp and Slot, but in terms of like wealth of like football and knowledge of history, I know a shitload and it's really embarrassing. But like Klopp and Slot back to back, it's almost polar opposite to Shankly then Paisley.
Yeah.
Vibrant, larger than life character, still won trophies but could never win the big one.
Yeah.
Which was the European Cup at the time. Klopp obviously is the big, vibrant, larger than life character, but he won the Champions League. You then passed on to the more mellow, relaxed, composed individual, which is Bob Paisley, in this case Arne Slot. You've actually got the two-way street, but this time instead of being all so much needs to be done, or
There's
we need to do
continuity.
XYZ.
There's evolution
Yeah.
and continuity as
It's
opposed
smart.
to revolution.
It's very smart,
I'll
and
say-
I think, and that's key, and that's the highest compliment you could probably give them. Is it reminds us
I'll say as well. Slot is ruthless. I think
Yeah.
we're kind of seeing when we had Klopp. I think I'll never criticize the man. He did have his mistakes in him, but I think what really sort of separates Klopp and Slot is the fact that Slot is not one for sentimentality.
he's got
Klopp
the balls to drop
Klopp
someone
was.
like.
And I think
What
when
he
you
was doing
look
to
at
Trent.
Slot at the moment, he's obviously had a look at the squad and he's thought, right, there's players in here I don't trust. Kwanzaa I don't think he trusts. Elliot I don't think he trusts.
Mm-hmm.
Nunez he doesn't trust.
Kwanzaa
Chiesa,
keeps DMing girls to shag them on Twitter, so no wonder Slot doesn't trust him.
Yeah. Less said on Kwanzaa. He's a strange one.
yeah,
You're absolutely spot on. You're absolutely spot on. But I think that says a lot about him. Like and Julio mentioned him there, but like the way he handled the Trent situation, he went, "I don't care if you came from our academy. Like,
Even in the press,
don't care."
Even with the Real Madrid stuff, even in the press, Slot could not have handled that any better, and I have to tip my hat off to him, because if I was in the situation, I would be getting pissed off with journalists every week.
I'd be sitting
there
taking
like,
my
will you
shoes
stop
off.
asking me about this bastard?
I would literally take my shoes off and launch at the first journalist I could see in front of me. I just whack them. I'd be like, I
It's
don't
a
care.
long reach and your long legs, mate.
I love the way he speaks in press conferences as well. He's like really calm.
He's very well spoken, isn't he?
He's a bald Postecoglou. Like, he is. Like, if Ange Postecoglou's got one of the nicest demeanours in an interview. I think Arne Slot's the same.
Yeah.
Really
After
good.
the last season, I don't think you can say that now.
I mean, when you look at it, though, obviously you'll lose a little bit of temper, but like when they're actually having in-depth good conversations, they have got very good demeanours, and they control it really well. They control a press conference very well, which is very important to succeed.
I think the one thing I will say that this season, Luis Diaz got his flowers, because a lot of the fan base were wanting him sold in the summer. I wasn't one of them, obviously.
I mind telling you that like the first month of the season, I was like, mate, you need to check your football Twitter, because all your Liverpool fans are one Luis Diaz sold. I was like, watch him be one of your top goal scorers.
Yeah, and
he's the
Salah
player
being Salah. He's had another magnificent season. We're probably down the line. People will be like going to, their team of the seasons or actual Premier League all-time team of the seasons. And that right wing spot, I think, is really up for grabs. But I tell you what, if he wins another Premier League title, another couple, then I think there's arguments to be said that he's definitely one of the best African players that's played in the Premier League.
He's only got one player's competition, and that's Yaya Toure.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah.
What I love as well.
Maybe Drogba as well. That's a bit harsh. That's your top three.
Mm-hmm.
What I was going to say about the Salah thing as well. Salah was different this year. Slot worked with Salah.
It was like Messi in that 17-18 season for Barcelona. Like he just done everything.
Yeah.
Like the way he moved centrally was incredible. I hate the fact I have to praise him, but he's so good.
I think the thing is as well, we have the African Cup of Nations coming up in December.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think what's going to happen, you will see Frimpong at right wing, because I think what's going to happen, I think you'll see Bradley play mostly at right back. I think Frimpong probably doesn't start the season. I think you'll see Bradley at right back. But I think the fact that Frimpong's been signed is obviously because of Salah being at the African Cup of Nations.
Yeah, I agree.
And obviously you'll have the same problem with obviously Mbeumo signs, and I would say Onana, but yeah, less said about that the better.
Fuck that.
So I think December to January could be really interesting this season.
I know this might
And
sound
obviously,
harsh 'cause-
you look at City though. Obviously, have Marmoush missing as well. So I think December, January could be a very interesting time of the season, because we might start to see a couple of teams maybe struggle with the players being at the AFCON. But no, look, to win the league last season was absolutely fantastic. I don't think it was a great Liverpool team, if I'm being honest, but it was very consistent. We were the most consistent team. I think we were top from week 10 onwards. And Arsenal fans can say what they want. Arsenal were not top once last season.
We were week
Brighton
one.
were.
Brighton.
Manchester United were. Man City and Liverpool. They were the only 4 teams that were top.
Yeah, Arsenal fans don't compete. Have you guys seen this goal? I'm not even kidding. I'll see if I can if I can actually hang it. Watch this. Just watch this dribbling and watch this play. This is if I can hang it. Watch this. Wait till you see that. This is actually outstanding.
Is that the Football Cup?
Yeah. That's like futsal.
That's insane.
That's one-on-one futsal, and she's literally like chipped up in there, tucked it back on her shoulder,
just like juggling,
back up and then volleyed. I'm like, yeah, beauty. Watching again on playbacks, I've got on my left monitor. What a finish!
I'll say this now. If we get Isaac on top of Verts, Kirkhead, and Frimpong,
yeah,
that is one hell of a window.
I said. Few friends of mine at work, and I stand by it. Whoever signed Florian Wirtz wins the Premier League.
I agree.
Like I said that. Like Florian Wirtz, whoever signed him, whether it be you guys or City, I was like, whoever gets him wins the Premier League. And I think yous will be favourites to win the league again. I think yous will. I don't know if yous will defend it, but I think yous are 100% the favourites. But I don't think you get Isak, but I think you'll end up with some random striker that nobody will see coming, and then we'll go, oh, for fuck's sake, here we go again.
Even Ekitike. I know it's a lot of money, but I think Liverpool are in a position with their team that they could probably afford to sign someone like that.
I don't think they'll sign Ekitike. I actually have a strange suspicion. I think Arne Slot might say, you know what, can you get me a striker that's roughly the same age as Darwin Núñez, but more clinical? I could honestly see you guys signing a player that I really like, Ollie Watkins.
Did think about Ollie Watkins, actually.
I think 40 million is enough for you guys to get him out.
There needs to be the right balance. There needs to be a right balance in that forward three. Time and time again, we see clubs sign players that don't 100% fit, and you're either limiting other players. There needs to be that balance where you got Salah and someone else as the goal scorer.
Great question from Ryan. I don't think so, though. That's a great question.
He would be brilliant. He'd be perfect.
I think
he'd be brilliant.
I think Alvarez moved because of the weather. So I don't see Alvarez coming back into the Premier League anytime soon.
Trying who else? Even because Bournemouth are getting absolutely raided right now. Like Evan Nielsen right now would be so good for you guys. I really like Evan Nielsen. I think he's incredible. I think he'll be the next one to go. They're getting
I've heard
poached heavy right now.
I've heard from Craig Beasley, who does up the cherries in all departments. I've heard Zabarni is going to PSG. As is Marcus Tavernier.
Yeah.
60 million. Well, what? Tavernier to who?
PSG.
You're joking, right?
Nope.
Tavernier. Marcus
Tavernier is going to PSG.
To do what? Bench? I rate Marcus Tavernier, but that doesn't make any sense. Where does he fit in? Because
we are talking ex-championship Marcus Tavernier, right?
Yes. Who doesn't
not diminishing the championship, but I'm saying that's the same. Okay.
The same player who doesn't get ahead of Dembele, Desiree Dou, and all that ones like that. If he ends up at PSG, though, I will say this:
I thought Kluivert would have made more sense.
Yeah, if he does go to PSG, though, bold take, he does an Elise. Like he is PSG's elite. He would be the PSG equivalent of Elise if he does that. Like for the Bayern perspective, that would be it'd be a wild move, but I don't know how he fits in. Like I understand.
I'll tell you now a club for the GOAT category, Brighton.
I agree.
Yeah, because they've done what I said they were going to do as well. They're
And in
spending money now.
fact, yeah, I think in fact they can be a pair with 2 other clubs as well.
Brentford.
Definitely.
Yep.
I think these have to go in as well.
Villa down 1. Put
Really?
Villa to excellent because they're in their financial issues. They're risking everything for finance, but they're still being competitive. But I think they're risking everything.
Just like we did with Julio's first one. We put them up there, didn't we? But obviously now, like that.
They're risking everything for that, so I have to put them in that perspective. Man City, I think we all know where Man City realistically do go.
Should be here, but technically,
yeah, they are. They're right at the very bloody top, and I think
so.
They are. Here's one I'm perplexed on, and I'm not sure where I want to put them in the sense of it. But I'm stuck between all right and excellent. And that's Chelsea, because they're finally getting it right. I think they're finally getting it right.
I'd say for now,
I think just because of the start, it's gotta be all right.
It's scattergun, but they're seeming to start finally acting like owners.
Yeah,
that'll be excellent.
Yeah,
give it a couple of years, will be excellent because then it's all marinating together and it's all coming right. They just need a little bit of seasoning, a little bit of extra barbecue sauce, and this out.
Because they're not behaving like Football Manager anymore.
Exactly.
Which is what we obviously agreed on at the start. They were acting like Football Manager. If you were linked to Arsenal, if you were linked to City,
his lesson quickly.
Which is great for an owner if he learns his lesson. Palace owner is pretty good, actually.
The only thing I will say about Palace is I think he needs to go in the same category as Chelsea, literally only because Parish has had some dodgy appointments.
That's why I've got West Ham in
Parish himself. See, Parish himself has not led this club to glory because, in the sense of that, he's had to bring investors in, and fair enough, fair play to bring in investors in. But it's honest
as well.
It's not just him.
I've got see for the same sort of argument, but it's just the way they present it a little bit. The way they handled the Moyes exit, but then they still won a trophy. I've got them in the Gattuso, and that's West Ham.
I was thinking the same.
I think Fulham are all right.
Fulham are Gattuso, definitely.
I think Tony Khan's actually done really well in terms of managing the club now. In
recent years, in recent years, he's turned it around. This was a point I made last time as well, that for a long time they were getting it so wrong, and they finally got it right.
Still then clicked.
And they were focusing on maybe. The worst thing about it as well is obviously Tony Khan runs it. Obviously, Shaq Khan obviously is the main guy in charge. But they're acting like owners, even if they don't fully know what they're doing. But they're bringing in people that at least understands football and they're working with it.
Yeah.
And they constantly promote. Like Tony Khan is always on his Twitter. Obviously, his other ventures like the Jacksonville Jaguars, AEW. He's always promoting Fulham.
Yeah.
On his Twitter, like that guy does not shut up about Fulham, and that is a beautiful thing to see.
The thing is, I can never move past the first 4 years of their tenure because the first 4 years were a basket case. Obviously, got relegated in almost disgrace, got back-to-back relegations, and then eventually stabilized in the Championship.
They were low. Sludge for years as well.
If it wasn't for Mitrovic signing on loan in January 2018, I don't think they would have come up.
I agree.
And then they wouldn't have had the parachute payment money, at least as quickly, because Mitrovic went in on loan and they were in 13th. His goals single-handedly took them into the playoffs, and then they sent John Terry crying on the Wembley pitch. And then they went up, then they came back down in disgrace, and then they went back up in COVID, and then they came back down in disgrace because Scott Parker's a bellend. And then they hired Marco Silva, and then that's when it properly started to. But yeah, the parachute payment money obviously helps when you're going up and coming down and going up and coming down. But for the first 4 or 5 years of that tenure, my God, it was bad.
Speaking about upping and downing, where do the strippers go?
Norwich go into disqualification.
Really?
Yeah.
Are they as bad as these frauds?
Nah.
I'll put them in honking, but I've said it for so many times.
I think they're going poor.
I was going to say I think they're going to poor because to be honest, I think they've got more Premier League promotions than maybe we give them credit for.
Considering the lack of cash as well.
But still, it's all they play for. All they play for is Delia Smith to get her parachute payments. I can't have this.
But that's the thing, though. The first time they came up, they barely spent any money. Granted, they went back down, deservedly so, and that's where it would be poor. But I think the fact that they came up, because it was a good few years. I'll say good few years. They went down, came back up, then they went straight back down again.
I'm fairly certain as well.
2 or 3 years, they came up.
Ryan is spot on.
Yeah,
I agree with what Ryan's saying. To be fair,
but then again, they are one of the poorest owners in the Championship.
Well, and they've never advocated to sell, which is weird.
True.
It's never come out Delia Smith is looking to sell Norwich, and I think
because hardly anyone wants to do any business with a wino that comes onto a pitch at half time crying for people asking where they are. Nobody.
Come on.
Do you know what I mean?
I mean,
like,
Mike Ashley's there. But I think it's a reality. I think not too long ago we said Leicester were great. I've actually got them.
We had Leicester in top last year.
Yeah, I actually have Leicester down 2. I have them in all right now.
Yeah.
Nah.
About that.
I think we've gotten beyond that point now. I think they are at a point because for a few years now, ever since their FA Cup win, they've just been regressing. Within 2 years of that, they got relegated, which obviously is not 100% their fault because Brendan Rodgers is partly responsible.
Oh yeah.
I think it's 40% Brendan Rodgers, 60% Danny Ward. It came up. It is. How do you let Kasper Schmeichel go and decide, you know what, Danny Ward, you're the one, mate. Here you go. Here's the number 1 shirt. And the only time they had any goalkeeping stability was the last couple of games of the season where they played Everson, a championship quality goalkeeper in goal. It was that bad.
I absolutely.
They came up and they've gone back down again.
I absolutely rate that take. 40% Brendan Rodgers, 60% Danny Ward.
It's true.
That's absolutely top. That's
brilliant.
absolutely
I
top
think
tier,
you
man.
have to put them. If you're gonna put them anywhere high, you can't go higher than Gattuso, in my opinion. As great as the ownership was, I just think the last few years,
considering they are impending points deductions, Gattuso.
I would agree with that. I think
you can't go any lower because the Premier League for me.
Forest. This is the one I wanted to ask you because obviously Marinakis is a living
I put this in Gattuso. Because for a long time Marinakis caused all sorts of problems, a lot of managerial turnover.
So many sackings.
I remember early 2010s, they would start the season really well, and then by Christmas it's fallen off.
That was a different owner.
Was it before Marinakis that?
Yeah, I think Marinakis was 2017.
Yeah, he's late 2010s.
Yeah. I'm thinking before. Yeah, regardless,
he's chaotic though. He's chaotic.
A lot of turnover.
Forest had their fair share of really dodgy managers, didn't they? Like they had, Who was the French guy they had? Lamouchi.
We've got Super Sub Lamouchi. He knows exactly what we need.
He was shite for them.
He was. He started well, but terrible.
I'll hold a little bit of humble pie when it comes to Nuno Santos, but I'll still be right in the end. But in circumstance being though, like Marinakis has caused more problems for Nottingham Forest than he's caused genuine positives. The only positive obviously is getting Europe, and he tries to go after his manager. That's not an owner I would love to work for. But
I'm gonna have to head off because I just realised the time. But I'll leave my one more club to go in the bottom one, and that is Nathan's team, Cardiff City.
Oh, spot on.
Absolutely. The bottom of bottom. Well, Sheffield Wednesday will go there when we get to them.
No. You're the worst. 100%. You're the worst.
We will literally be here till tomorrow morning.
I'd even put you right at the bottom.
You're on par with try to be kind here. You're on par with the previous Rangers ownership, Craig White.
Oh my god.
Oh my goodness me.
That's saying something.
Vincent Tan's on par with him for absolute stinking the joint.
I didn't think we'd be mentioning Craig White on a
he's still got
podcast, but here we go.
Oh my god.
He's still got court dates coming up. It's funny.
But we all know the situation that's happened, just to jump in, but I don't understand how they've gone after Die Young and they haven't gone after Chansiri and Vincent Tan, the EFL.
Not
That in
yet, they
itself,
haven't.
the EFL needs to be in that tier as well for me.
Yeah.
It
Anyway,
should happen this year.
I'm going to go. I'll speak to you later.
Catch you later, my man.
Take care.
Take
See you later.
Ryan, 8 protests and counting.
More protests and trophies in the last couple of years, put it that way.
I know.
Do you know what? Vincent Tan at these protests should hire Danny Ward as his bodyguard.
He should.
Honestly, that's shameful.
Absolutely should.
Right.
I mean, yeah, that's understandable.
How much
Yeah.
of this are we doing? Are we doing everything else or just...
We won't do the midgets, basically.
I
No
have-
offense to midgets, but we'll go with the...
I have 2 of them, and I want to put both of them in honking.
Go for it.
Everton and
You-
Salford
you-
City.
You like
No,
honking. You like honking so much, man. Honestly, it's actually ridiculous. You're like a goose.
I don't think with Everton's new owners that we can put them in honking.
No, Everton have had their new owners for the best part of 6 months. I don't think you can put them
I'm
in
still
honking
good.
yet.
I'm
I think
still-
the
I'm
fact
still
that they
going on the
brought...
They
previous-
nailed
the
as
previous
well.
ownership.
They absolutely nailed getting Moyes in.
All right. I was
Yeah,
going
I
based on
think-
the previous ownership, though. That's why I was
Yeah,
basing
that's
on.
fair.
Because can I be perfectly honest with you about the Moyes appointment? Obviously, Sean Dyche, the way he's gone out, okay, fair enough. If he's decided that he can't take his team any further, fair enough, whatever. I think the fact that they went against the curve and against what the fans wanted, and they are smugly sitting there, proved right. Like, imagine Reece, smug as hell when he's right, but times 1,000. Then double that. That's the Friedkin group. Because what Moyes has done, the way he's gone in, he has shown everyone what he's always been about, which is going in somewhere, galvanizing the gaff, and really, really turning it around. And I loved the appointment.
Still
And I had to-
mate.
I had to listen to fans ring up TalkSport. There was this one woman who tried to make good points, and then she lost me where she said, "Why don't we hire Fonseca? Why don't we show
What?
some ambition? Why don't we hire Allegri?" I'm like, sorry, darling. You're 16th in the league. Allegri's not coming to you. You want Fonseca after he's just been fraudulently thrown out of Milan and bottled a 4-2 league in the Europa League 3 months later? No.
I just had to go
No.
back and listen to that on the monitors, so that was nice. Comparing me to the Friedkin group in terms of smugness, I had to go back and listen to that bit. I appreciate
I wasn't
that.
comparing you to the Friedkin group. I was just saying that when you're smug as hell, it's unbearable, and the Friedkin group must be walking around the gaff at Everton. Everyone's like, oh my god.
To be fair, when I'm smug, I've earned it.
Yeah.
I've earned it. When I get things right, I'm gonna be smug about it. I mean, Napoli fans are still questioning how the fuck I figured out Spalletti. They're still questioning me. I had one message me.
I try not to think about it. I try not to think about it.
But to be fair, when I'm right, I'm right. Just ask all the badminton fans. They've collected a lot of Arsenal fans in recent years.
And lack of trophies.
I mean, I actually did listen to an Arsenal fan yesterday saying they would rather finish second and win no trophies than compete in the Europa League and win that final.
Say a line race.
If you're not in this sport to win trophies, go and play badminton.
Thank you. Anyway,
By the
next-
way, I do agree with the Salford point. I think there was a point where Salford were the original Wrexham, and then they just never kicked on.
Look at their ownership now as well. It's Gary Neville and David Beckham.
Yeah, because
They bought
Peter
them out.
Lim's gone. Lim's gone, hasn't he?
Yeah, and they bought out Paul Scholes, Nicky Butt, all of them, and they've done nothing. David Beckham is more focused on Miami than he is Salford. He's got no care. Like, Gary Neville doesn't care about them. If he did, he would have sold that club to someone that actually gives a shit and focus on his punditry when he's not even that good a pundit anyway.
Exactly.
He's an absolute
Yeah.
coffin dodger.
With the top tier as well, can we all agree that Newcastle and Birmingham both go in there?
In the where?
Right at the top.
Birmingham, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Are you telling me Birmingham
Really?
with that? They're coming to the club, and Eustace, and then within 6 weeks, Eustace has them in 6th, right? Then their genius, their amazing plan is go, right, let's sack Eustace. Let's bring in Rooney, that franchise name that Americans love so much.
But
And I
on the other hand-
understand it. I understand obviously, like, firstly, I understand the American obsession with franchise names, obviously
Yeah.
the publicity and marketing. I also understand the fact that even if the manager's doing well, even if you don't like him, like if if you don't like him and he's doing well, like if he's not the guy for you, move forward. Better to get out now rather than later.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I can understand that, but you've hired the wrong person. You've plummeted down the league. You finished at the bottom. If you'd sacked Rooney probably 2 weeks in advance, or hired someone else instead of Rooney, you probably wouldn't have gone down. And then fair enough, you've gone and outspent League One together for players.
I mean, Danny Rowe was there. Oh wait,
It was probably less of an accident then. But then again, it probably was a blessing in disguise. They went down so they could rebuild properly.
I just think they don't give a flying fuck.
In a way,
I think they just don't. I just think they don't care, and it's a reflection. I'm going to put one ownership up on a little bit of praise because they've actually made some efforts to try and do some more.
Mhm.
I'm going to put in Gattuso, Leighton Orient.
Mm.
Oh no.
I think put them in there actually stands by from what they've done. Like the fact they were able to get promotion when they weren't favoured for it is actually quite a good thing.
Yeah, that's fair. Another one I want to put there as well, in particular since they've come in, 49ers.
Annoyingly, yeah, I have to agree.
Not perfect, obviously with relegation in last season and stuff.
Nah,
and Daniel Parker.
They're not an excellent. Barker's
Really?
in charge. 2 years in a row. How can you let this happen on your watch, 49ers?
In the Premier League as well, 3 years.
I mean, to be fair,
he's still there.
To be fair, they've just gave Russell Martin the Rangers job. I think they should go a little bit lower.
True. Oh yeah, of course, shared ownership. Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what, I think the fact that they didn't go up the first time of asking legitimately is why I don't have them in excellent.
Yeah,
fair enough.
I think Sunderland deserve a little bit of praise for recency.
They got a really young owner as well.
I respect the fact. I think he's gone in and he's not just trying to do it himself. I think he has got people in there.
Yeah,
he was the guy that sacked the car salesman. So for me, he's in the go already.
Definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
And because look how that paid off. The guy, I think they lost 6 at home or 6. I can't remember what the score was, but they conceded 6. I think they were hit for 6, and then they went, "All right, listen here, you car salesman. Thank you, but listen, Centre Selectors down the road. I'm sure they're looking for someone to sell." So, or I tell you what, I've just realised something. Bristol City owner, isn't he a car salesman? No wonder he hired him in the first place.
Nah, he's a stockbroker in Lansdowne. I've got
a good way to put it.
He should be in Gattuso as well, but I can't.
I've got an analogy. Excellent. I've got an analogy for you based on your Lexus one. They basically traded a Toyota Prius for a Lamborghini Murcielago in terms of upgrading managers.
Oh, that's class.
And then Alex Neil thought he was too good for them, so he left. And then Tony Mowbray had him finishing higher in the playoffs.
Exactly. But here's a smart thing as well, and this is actually something they do need credit on.
Wait, hang on. Where did we put him? I just realised he hired Michael Beale.
Yeah, we've got him in there.
We put him down to excellent. Yeah.
Okay.
I think if...
Oh, actually, let me grab it.
The good thing about him, and this is what I do like about him.
There she is.
That's one of my favourite ever edits.
Biggest thing about this one, though, as well, is he was willing to make the appointment, realised he was a Toyota Prius, and went, actually, get fucked, and they got rid of him. If they kept Toyota Prius in charge, Joe Bellingham wouldn't have been a £30 million player, he would have been a £2 million player.
I like that as well.
Do you know what I find hilarious? You just mentioned Prius there, and I'm thinking if Michael Beale is the Prius in the situation, I'm just thinking of that opening scene in Ride Along where a Prius pulls up at a valet in front of Ice Cube, and he goes, "A Prius? Man, get this bullshit out of here!" And he goes for a monster truck.
Oh, dear, that's brilliant. Another one I'll put up there. You know what? Let's do a quick fire. Millwall, definitely excellent. Very on the hush, but doing well. Wimbledon, fan owned, gotta go up there. As much as I hate them, they can go up there as well. Where's the other fan owned one? This is a tricky one. Luton, because they are fan owned.
Which one was that? Sorry.
Luton.
Fan owners are tricky ones to rate on because their finances are going to be judged differently.
Yeah,
and I don't think it's as easy as it is to.
Because they were the top. They were top last time.
But you have to remember as well, obviously, that because they're fan owned, they're not actually because they're obviously voting people into the club.
Yeah.
People who are probably good at parts of their roles in departments and stuff. What I'm trying to say is, like, it's not like
it's trickier to judge a fan board because, like you say, you're voting people in, but you also have to vote on everything else, and it's not easy to agree because fans.
How long have they been fan owned for?
I think since 2008.
I can check for
Since
you.
2008, yeah. Then I would put them in excellent because I think the way they've built this club back up, the fact that this club has reached the Premier League.
Let's see. The club has been owned by Luton Town Football Club 2020 Limited. It's from 2020. Ballantyne bought the club in 2008. So Ballantyne bought the club in 2008, and they took over from him in 2020. So they've been ownership for 5 years.
And in that time, they've seen a couple of promotions at least.
Yeah.
And championship stability, I believe. Could be wrong.
I'm sorry. What? Alright, this is madness, right? I'm looking at the list of English owners, right? Just random. Look at this. I'm not even kidding. Now, serious questions need to be asked. I'm just going to share this quickly. Look at the just look at the 4 clubs that are on screen. And then tell me your immediate thoughts on their net worth.
Oops.
Obviously, there's a lot. They're just English clubs, but tell me your immediate thoughts on those first 4 clubs. I'm sorry, but a 2 billion net worth club should still not be able to outspend AC Milan.
Yeah, that's absurd.
But Aston Villa? That is madness. V-Sports as well. Like, are they American or?
I believe they are American.
Holding companies, American billionaire and Egyptian. The fuck? They own a 29% stake in Vitoria as well. And
Really? Spanish
side Real Union a 25% stake in them. They've got a partnership with ZFC of the Egyptian Premier League, and they've got a agreement with Vissel Kobe in Japan that used to the club that Iniesta played for. Oh shit, look at this. That is their subsidiary ownership. Look at all that. That's stakes or partnerships, Julio.
Wow.
Spanish club, Portuguese club, 100% both ownerships for the Villa teams. That is absolutely mental.
You know what?
They've been owners since 2020. They got rebranded in 2021, so they've been owners since 2018. By the looks of it.
And that's the year that Villa went straight back up as well.
Yeah.
After years, and I think it was under Tony Shaw, wasn't it? Where they were really bad.
That was a Japanese boy, yeah.
So they had 2 years with him.
The Japanese guy was crazy for his spending, though. And then he disappeared quickly as well. Yeah.
Right, let's crack on with more quickfire as well. I'm not going to do ones like Scunthorpe as well. Middlesbrough, definitely the Gattuso for me, and the Gibson with limited resources.
Sheffield United are a joke.
Sheffield United are, they're not great.
Stoke City are honking.
Oh my god, with the amount of money that they have as well.
Yeah, they're embarrassing. I actually think Portsmouth are all right because they've actually started to climb the ladder and get back into good shape. I think they deserve credit. I think the same for Bolton as well. I think Bolton
season, they go in there. When they get to the Championship, then maybe they can go up. But crazy.
I wonder who gets up to the Championship back first, them or Portsmouth. Oh, we know Portsmouth are still in the Championship actually, so Portsmouth should be excellent then. So Portsmouth should be excellent then.
Yeah, I back that. Mind it did take them a while.
Here's one. This will be the fun conversation. I know Julio will turn his camera back on the minute I say their name. Where are we sticking Coventry?
For me, excellent.
Is that before or after the forced rivalries?
I love that with every single team in the country.
Yeah.
For me, they go. The only reason I can't put them in GOAT is because they haven't got to the Premier League yet.
Mm-hmm.
The second that happens, they'll be in GOAT straight away with the rise, and if they stay there. Yeah. What about this one?
Ipswich.
Yes.
Ipswich for me are back-to-back promotions. They've stood by a manager. They've realised they can't afford above their means, so they did loans, but then they actually started spending a little bit of money to make some deals permanent. They did the opposite of like a Middlesbrough with Carrick. They at least tried to back McKenna as best they can.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a bit harsh to say, but I think they're second tier.
Yeah, I back it.
I don't. If they get promoted though this season, then they're GOAT for me next season.
Easily.
In terms of ownership, because that's insane.
Well, that can go in there as well.
MK Dons disqualify.
Yeah, definitely.
There's not many I know left, so I'm gonna do the ones I know, and the rest.
Reading, I know they can go in all right for now because they got new ones. Young, obviously, for obvious reasons.
I'll do the ones I know, and then I'll let you and Julio finish off. Yeah. So I'm gonna do quick fire. So Derby, poor.
Really, with the new ones.
They've still got a lot to do from the previous ownership, and they haven't made enough impact yet. Barnsley,
they're terrible.
Yeah, honking. West Brom, honking. It's not even it's just West Brom in general. Like horrible stripper club. Hull City, same tier. They are terrible.
Yeah.
And the way they treated Rosignor is pathetic as well.
Oh, that was shocking.
Blackpool, Huddersfield, Plymouth, and
for
Sheffield
me, Blackpool's
United.
All right. Considering what they had before. What was the one you said before?
Burnley or Gattuso.
Burnley or Gattuso, yeah.
Huddersfield are poor.
Card Factory is actually honking for me.
Yeah.
Just no investment.
Yeah, and then the last one for me, I was just looking for them 2 seconds. Yeah, last one for me, Sheffield United. They haven't got a fucking clue what they're doing. They keep getting worse. They are the honking tier, and that's it. I don't know anymore.
Fair by me. Wigan can go in all right for now. Before they would have been down here.
Mm-hmm.
They got a lot to do. I know they've had some shocking owners.
Julio, I don't know anymore.
Excellent.
It's between you and Julio, so I'll mute my mic from now on. But it's you and Julio for the rest of us.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to do quick fire anyway. Bristol Rovers, all right. Newport. What Hugh Jenkins has done since he's come in, they've been decent. Absolutely honking. Rotherham, another one, shocking. Colchester, I don't know much about, unless you know anything, Julio. Probably has to be Gattuso.
Not particularly, I'm afraid.
Wycombe are excellent. They could be in GOAT soon. Lincoln, they're right up there for me, definitely. Less said about that one. Tranmere, they're all right. All right. Definitely Gattuso. They're poor. Swindon, all I can think about is DeCanio and Cy Ferry.
Seeing all of it then now.
I know. That's crazy. And they're going back to like the early 2010s vibes, so Gattuso, they've gone absolutely down the toilet. They're honking. GOAT by a mile. That's poor. They've been poor. They're all right.
Yeah, I was going to say put Peterborough in all right. I really like their owner. I like him a lot.
Same with Burton, I guess. This one's a you, Julio.
Right. I want to put... I'm just trying to think. I want to put in excellent because what he came into a club that had just seen Rob Page go. The club was in a bad situation. They weren't paying people at the time either. We've seen a few relegations, but we've also seen a couple of promotions in that time as well. And we are finally we were finally showing some stability in League One for a change, which was very nice. The only issue is obviously the guy who took us there and kept us there.
Yeah.
John Brady. He's gone now. Prime Barclays, Kevin Nolan is there managing. There is a new 25% shareholder. He came in last year. He's happy to put some money in the club. There's a new stand finally, and it looks really nice. I haven't been there yet myself, but I really want to go one day to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really intrigued. I'm going to put them in excellent for now just because of the fact that they've turned it around and we look to be moving upwards. You know, last season we had a spell where we were signing championship experienced players, top of League One players, and we had some good players last season as well. Even though we finished, I think, 14th, there was a point where we were like 6 points off the playoffs with 10 games to go, but then we fell off. And I think to an extent we carry that into this season. And I think because we've not been that great this season, I worry that if Northampton Town, because a lot of players left this summer, a lot of players are leaving this summer, and I think if they don't get the window correct, there's a chance Northampton are in relegation battle, and I really don't want that. Obviously, if they stay up, great, but I think right now the aim should be stability. But, you know, 2 seasons in a row in League One, I think is
I don't think they're actually on there.
A lot of times Northampton have come up, and they've only stayed up for a couple of years and gone back down in that time. I'm sure it could be going down next year, and that only makes it 3 years between when we come up and when we went down. But I think I like the ownership. There seems to be an ambition to move the club forward steadily. They just really need to get this window right.
Yeah, I can back that as well. Gillingham, I'm going to go in poor. Barrow, considering the size of the club, excellent. Mansfield, they're all right. Harrogate, probably that's excellent again. Carlisle, less said about that one. Charlton up there. Crewe, Gattuso, they're in poor. Stevenage are quite good. Cambridge are all right, I think. And then Cheltenham, Gattuso, I guess. So, yeah, that's the tier list. Wrexham, obviously, will go in here. Less said about that one. And then we'll probably revisit this in another year, I guess, like we did for the last one. But, guys, probably going to go for it.
Lads, I've just seen something that's come out in the last 30 minutes, and it's absolutely funny.
Mm-hmm.
Who is right now going to be the next Middlesbrough manager?
Don't actually know.
Michael Beale.
Rob Edwards.
Oh, is that gone through, has it?
Looks like it. But guess who's going to be on his backroom staff?
Oh, go on.
Michael Beale.
No, his assistant, Watling. It looks like he is genuinely going to be his assistant, but I was like, when I see Michael Beale's picture, I was like, oh God almighty, what are Middlesbrough doing?
It's an interesting appointment, that, because I wondered what Edwards' reputation was going to be like, having, you know, he took Luton up, and obviously they came back down, and obviously he left us at a point during the season. Obviously they've done back-to-back relegations, and I think no matter how good or bad the situation is, you always have to hold the manager somewhat responsible for that, regardless of how long they stayed. So I did wonder what kind of job we'd get, and I think getting a job like Middlesbrough is quite interesting, a team that's always trying to challenge for the playoffs but not quite making it. So I'm curious about that.
But aside from that, guys, we are probably going to leave that here for tonight. Thanks for everyone who's dropped in tonight. That is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, thank you to our subscribers being here all
absolutely,
night.
Yeah, thanks to Ryan G for popping in, and everyone else as well. You've been absolutely amazing, guys. But we'll be back ready for next season. Premier League predictions coming up, Championship predictions coming up, Fraud Watch, all your favourite topics. We've got a lot coming up. But apart from that, see you all next time. Have a good one, guys. Enjoy it.
Live on YouTube. And listen back on Spotify. This is the World of Football podcast.
all. Happy days.